Chapter 351. May I know who you are referring to, Jing Yun? Mama Su answered the old man with a smile. He is my third son, Sui Feng, a long-lost child of the Su family. The Xing family was left stunned at that. Everyone's eyes widened. How was that possible? It was impossible. Thank you for your years of nurturing me, old Mr. Sheng. Papa Su said, offering the gift. I don't know what you like, which is why I brought this precious item as a token of my appreciation. The butler took the gift and handed it to the old man, who was left stunned when he saw it. It was a national treasure, and the Su family was giving it to him just like that. Moreover, he did not expect that Jing Yun was the third son of the Su family, and a descendant of a noble family. Even so, the scene of him humiliating Jing Yun had just played out here, and now Jing Yun's parents were here. How ironic. Everyone in the Xing family was stunned, save for those who knew about it. The old man could only feel a sense of humiliation and indignation filling his entire body. He never thought that Jing Yun had such a background, and yet thank you, you too. Actually, Jing Yun is sensible, capable, and very likable. The sound of slaps on the face could be clearly heard in the large living room. The old man was actually boasting shamelessly, calling Sui Feng a stray dog just moments ago and calling him a lunatic. And yet, in just a moment, his choice of words had changed dramatically. How laughable. That's right. It took us a long time to find our son, and we want to give him the best things in the world. That's why Huang Yao might have to groom a new assistant, and Feng would return to inherit the family business. Mama Su deliberately said in front of the old man. That would be a great loss for Huang Yao, Mama Su laughed, but noticed that Xing Minglan's eyes were red, and waved at fourth sister. What's wrong, fourth sister? Why are your eyes so red? She's just a kid who likes to cause trouble, so I've scolded her a little. Feng likes that kid, and so do we. I just don't know if old Mr. Sheng would agree to it. The Su family was a renowned family in the medical field. Unless Elder Su's brain was damaged, he wouldn't agree to it. However, considering the situation just now, his words were a different story. Auntie, to tell you the truth, Jing Yun was bullied quite badly just now. Xing Minglan seized the chance to tell Mama Su. Grandpa thought that Jing Yun had no background and was poor, so he humiliated him and disagreed with us being together. Mama Su's expression changed at that, and she turned to old Sheng. Old mister, why? I didn't know Jing Yun's identity, I thought. It said that one shouldn't bully a young man for being poor. Shouldn't an old man look at the young man in the long term? Papa Su promptly cut old Sheng short. And here I thought that Feng would tell you that he is the young master of the Su family. So he didn't. Since the Su family is indebted to you, old mister, we won't hold it against you. Still, Feng is the third young master of the Su family from now on, and naturally wouldn't return to the Xing family. Of course. As for Minglan, I really like her, but I can see that you really don't want her to be with our Feng. That's why we shouldn't force it. Mama Su said deliberately. I'm really sorry for bothering you today. Old Xing's expression was awkward, even angry. After all, he was humiliating someone else's child just a second ago, and the next second, someone else's parents came to him. Moreover, Jing Yun was no stray dog, but the third young master of the Su family. Butler, see our guests out. The old man did not keep the Su couple. How could he? Oh, by the way, we'll announce that Feng has returned to the Su family. We'll invite guests when the time comes, and we hope that you would do us the honor of coming, old Mr. Sheng. Of course. The old man said with a sheepish smile. After that, the Su couple left, and the old man turned to Xing Xiao again. You did it on purpose. You knew about this all along, didn't you? So what? Xing Xiao retorted. You've always despised the poor and loved the rich. If I don't leave a deep impression on you, how would you know that there's a saying in this world, don't bully the poor when you're young? You can humiliate Jing Yun all you want. It's fine. After all, he has all the ways to make trouble for you and take his revenge after he inherits the Su family's business. Unless you're not sick. The old man clutched his chest in frustration and stumbled a few steps back. The Su family is moving to Jianchuan soon. It's fine if you don't agree to fourth sister and Jingyun being together. They would still be together anyway, and it just depends on whether you want to be bullied or thanked. The old man closed his eyes, clearly sensing Sheng Zhao's threat. If the old man did not let Xing Minglan go, it would be the Xing family who would suffer when Jingyun took his revenge. Take your time to think about it. Xing Xiao glanced at the old man before turning to Mama Sheng. Both mother and son shared a look, with a tacit understanding between them. After a while, the old man closed his eyes and told Xing Minglan, "Go, fourth sister." What else could he do? When Jingyun tried everything he could to persuade him, the old man refused and wanted to humiliate him. But now that he knew who Jingyun was, he could only admit defeat and appease him. Wasn't that despicable? Xing Minglan glanced at the old man and promptly ran out of the Xing residence. The old man knew very well how much she hated the old man. His granddaughter was gone. Be that as it may, he did not lose anything by marrying into the Su family in name. Still, he was not sure if Jingyun would hold a grudge for what happened today. Let's go. We've had enough drama. The old man was exhausted. Eighth brother, you really want to see me die? If you're a good grandfather, everyone wants you to live to 100 years old. At those words, the old man turned and left the living room. Of course, Xing Xiao had a new plan in mind after that. It was time to say goodbye to the Xing family. Otherwise, there was no guarantee that he and Xiao Qi would not face such a scene one day. He knew very well what the old man was planning. It's treacherous to toy with your grandfather like that. Mama Xing criticized Xing Xiao afterward. Still, I have to say that Jingyun is really patient. He didn't even use his status as a bargaining chip under such circumstances. He's too stupid. He thought that the old man would have a hint of mercy, and that his sincerity could move the old man. Your grandfather is actually quite pitiful. Mama Xing couldn't help sighing at that. It's funny. He was humiliating Jingyun just a second ago, and then. It's really ironic how his faction behaves. Chapter 352. Jingyun wouldn't be feeling much better right now. Mu Qiqi sighed beside them. The old man had humiliated him and embarrassed him so much. How much tolerance did he have to endure to forgive the old man's actions today? Even if Jingyun was best at tolerance, Mama Xing turned to look at Mu Qiqi. Mama Xing tilted her head and looked at Mu Qiqi. This child was becoming more and more mature. She was no longer the little girl she first met. Thinking about their future, Mama Xing said to Xing Xiao, "Do whatever you want to do. I don't want Mu Qiqi to have to endure such humiliation. I can't explain it to the Shen family." Xing Zhao's gaze was as sharp as an eagle's. Holding Mu Qiqi's hand, he tightened his grip. "Thanks, Mom. Let's go home." Both of them left the Xing family and returned to Jingting. Right now, Mu Qiqi was only concerned about Xing Minglan and whether she could find Jingyun. In the end, Mr. and Mrs. Su were venting for their son, and to let everyone know who he was, they proposed a grand banquet to reintroduce him in front of everyone. As for Jingyun, he was sitting in his car, calming himself. After sitting by the seaside for a long time, he drove home. But when he opened the door, he found Xing Minglan throwing herself at him tearfully. "I thought you didn't want me anymore." Jingyun took a deep breath in resignation and hugged Xing Minglan. "I would have done it long ago if I could." "Jingyun, what Grandpa said to hurt you, you wouldn't believe me if I said I didn't mind. I need time." Xing Minglan nodded tearfully, peeking out of Jingyun's arms and holding his hand tightly. "Grandpa won't interfere with us anymore. He won't interfere in the future either." Jingyun said nothing, and simply held Xing Minglan in his arms again. It was all thanks to the Su family that they could achieve their goals. That was why Jingyun felt that he owed Xing Minglan. He promised her but couldn't bring her away, and if not for the Su family, his head would have been separated from his body. It took them a long time to calm down. It was only when Jingyun received a call from his parents that night. Jingyun drove Xing Minglan back to the Su family's new manor in Jianchuan. His identity had officially changed now. I'm fine. Jingyun comforted the two elders. I didn't think that you would come in time. It was your brother who suggested that we help you vent your anger. No matter what, you're home now. No one would dare to bully you from now on. Mama Su explained to Jingyun, before pulling them to sit down. Sui Hong sneered as he looked at the family downstairs. No one bullied them. He was the first to bully Jingyun. Otherwise, would he have let Jingyun recall the past and expose him in front of his parents? At that thought, Sui Hong went downstairs and told Jingyun, third brother, you don't have to be an assistant to the Xing family anymore. You should return to the Su family and help your brother with the family business. I don't understand medicine, nor do I understand equipment. You can learn if you don't understand. Sui Hong clapped his hand on Jingyun's shoulder. You're so smart and would definitely learn it quickly. Still, you've fallen out with the Xing family. What do you plan to do, fourth miss? Since you still intend to be with fourth miss, then you can't forget about the necessary etiquette. I'll go to the Xing family to ask for her hand in marriage in the future. Jingyun said composedly. Good. Mama Su nodded. Although she did not like the old man of the Xing family, she was satisfied with Xing Minglan as her daughter-in-law. Still, they would have to avoid unnecessary contact with the Xing family. Don't leave tonight since you're back. Papa Su urged Jingyun and Xing Minglan to stay. Your brother has prepared a room for you. Jingyun turned to Sui Hong and thanked him. Thank you, brother. Be that as it may, there was a hint of wariness. We're family. No need to be so polite. Sui Hong had changed his strategy and acted like a good brother, but the truth was that he wanted to gain their trust and drive a wedge between Jingyun and their parents. Was he going to take Jingyun's life otherwise? Jingyun glanced at Sui Hong out of the corner of his eye before holding Xing Minglan's hand tightly. It was only when they were alone in the room that he had Xing Minglan sit on the edge of the bed while he knelt on one knee. I'm useless. I can't rely on myself to take you away from the chairman, and I can't really make him acknowledge me. Jingyun. You've done enough. Xing Minglan said, stroking his face. I know what kind of person grandfather is. That attitude of yours is the greatest affirmation for me. There's still a long way to go. One day, grandfather would sincerely show goodwill to you. Jingyun had gone through all that and was still burdened with hatred. He should have been resentful after being humiliated by the old man, but he had none. From now on, I'll be wherever you are. I'll never be separated from you. Jingyun nodded, and the two of them hugged each other tightly. Although they took such a big detour, at least the two of them could finally be together without any obstacles. Still, are you really leaving eighth brother to join Su Holdings? Yes. Jingyun nodded. I want to protect you. On this day, Xing Xiao knew very well that his assistant was really leaving his side. Still, it was not a pressing matter. You can't bear to lose your assistant? Mu Qiqi teased Xing Xiao when she saw him reading the documents from Huang Yao's HR department. You're treating them like a beauty pageant. Is there anyone you like? It's just a bunch of good-for-nothings. It's impossible to find someone like Jingyun, so I'll just make do with one. With that, Xing Xiao picked up his glasses from the bedside table and put them on. It was the first time Mu Qiqi saw Xing Xiao wearing glasses. A good-looking person would naturally look good in everything, and glasses were a plus. Xiao, do you think Jingyun would change when he returns to the Su family? Xing Xiao's gaze was sharp as he looked down at Mu Qiqi teasingly. Why are you so emotional all of a sudden? I just feel like I'll lose Jingyun. Xing Xiao pinched Mu Qiqi's cheek and put down the documents in his hand, patting her butt. Go to sleep. Aren't you going to observe with your mentor tomorrow? Got it. Mu Qiqi lay in Xing Xiao's arms and closed her eyes. I can't help you with anything. You would definitely feel worse facing the old man than Jing Yun. Xing Xiao said nothing, and merely lowered his head to kiss Mu Qiqi's forehead. You don't know, but you would be the greatest help to me as long as you insist on being yourself. I don't need you to compromise with anyone or anything. Chapter 353. As a matter of fact, Xing Xiao did not just want an assistant. He also wanted someone who could take on the responsibility to manage Huang Yao. His father might have some tricks up his sleeve, but he lacked charisma. Still, only third brother and fifth brother were doing things in the Xing family. The other uncles were doing things on their own, and did not treat Huang Yao as a family matter at all. There was also another reason: they were used to being oppressed by the old man. And what was he thinking? He was looking for his father-in-law, Shen Jianxuan, to prepare a path of retreat for him and his little one. It was late at night, and Jianxuan was freezing in the harsh winter. But the old man was sitting stiffly in his study, and did not step out for the entire day. He felt humiliated when he recalled what happened with Jing Yun. Why did Jing Yun have to be a descendant of the Su family? More terrifyingly, he would have to change his attitude and treat Jing Yun politely if he came to the Xing family after what he had done to humiliate him. That was really embarrassing for him. The old man sighed, but soon received a call from the Gu family, who suggested a meeting with the old man to discuss the matter between Xing Xiao and Miss Gu in detail. The old man nodded, feeling that there was no time to waste. Otherwise, Xing Xiao's arrogance would become more and more difficult to suppress. Let's do it this weekend. We'll plan it then. The other party agreed to his suggestion, and hung up. Once Miss Gu agreed to marry into the Xing family, the old man would immediately find a reason for her to join the Xing family and familiarize herself with the family. The next day, Mu Qiqi went to school early in the morning. She found her tutor and followed her to the criminal investigation unit. It was said that they had found a corpse with a heavy taste yesterday, and that they would conduct an autopsy today to determine the identity and time of death. Although Mu Qiqi had seen the corpse several times, it was always acceptable. But this time, it was said that the corpse had turned into a giant. And the so-called giant meant that the corpse was so badly decomposed that it had expanded, making it look like a giant. Of course, it was so disgusting that its eyeballs were squeezed out of its face. It was so rotten that anyone who saw it wouldn't stop vomiting. Even Mu Qiqi, who was usually calm, threw up by the pool when she saw it. The few senior brothers had vomited a few times and were comforting each other. Look at you, you're such a good wife of a rich family. Why are you so stubborn and willing to suffer with us? Mu Qiqi perked up, but when she turned to look at the corpse, she vomited again. Seeing this, the tutor finally smiled. Seeing how calm you were previously, I really thought that your mental fortitude was really strong. I didn't expect. It's fine. I'll be fine after vomiting. Mu Qiqi rinsed her mouth and wiped her mouth. Then, she continued listening to the forensic analysis. Fortunately, when his gaze was focused on a specific area, it wasn't so uncomfortable. Still, Mu Qiqi did not look too good when she vomited like that. There was no telling how Xing Xiao would feel when he saw that. That morning, Xing Xiao did not arrive at Huang Yao on time. He did not bring Mu Qiqi with him, and went to the Shens on his own. When Huang Yu saw that, she thought that Xing Xiao and Mu Qiqi had a conflict. She quickly went to Grandpa Sheng, but Xing Xiao explained, Xiao Qi has always been the one bullying me. When did I not spoil her? It's hard to say. Huang Yu was not easy to fool. How intelligent was Xing Xiao? Was there anyone in Jianxuan who did not know? Xing Xiao smiled and went to Grandpa Shen's fish pond. However, the old man was not there today. He had gone to visit his comrades, and only Shen Jianxuan was there. Looking for Grandpa? For you. Xing Xiao said, leaning against a wooden pillar in the pavilion. I don't think I have any reason to refuse what you suggested before. Are you sure you don't even want your status as the crown prince? Shen Jianchuan asked in return. In fact, he had already guessed that Huang Yao was not a cage that would imprison Xing Xiao given his personality. I just want to give a clean future. Xing Xiao replied, looking at Shen Jianchuan. But I have to prepare first, and Huang Yao needs to deal with the aftermath. If your grandfather knows that you want to start your own business with me, do you think he would have a heart attack? Father-in-law, don't be so sarcastic. Xing Xiao was displeased. I have a document with me. Take a look at it. Combining the connections and status the Shen family has accumulated over the years, as well as your expertise, I think this line of work is the most suitable for us. Incidentally, there are 2 military enterprises that are about to close in the suburbs of Jianchuan. Buying them would not be a problem. Xing Xiao was intrigued. Do you want to see my ability to negotiate a partnership? Shen Jianchuan shrugged. Deal with the aftermath well. We can't let the old man hate us. That depends on him. Xing Xiao's meaning was self-evident. If the old man showed restraint, he would do his best to bring Huang Yao to new heights before handing it over to the Xing family. But if the old man became even worse, not even the gods could hold back. Don't let Xiaoqi know about this for now. She has a soft heart, and would easily feel guilty towards the old man. I will arrange everything properly. Shen Jianchuan certainly had no reason to doubt Xing Xiao's ability. With the 2 of them together, there would be another storm. Xing Xiao planned to take care of both sides, and naturally would not let anyone know that he and Shen Jianchuan were up to something else. He knew all too well that would have more and more freedom as he climbed higher and higher. In the end, the 2 men were only doing it to protect the person most important to them. In the afternoon, at the Su residence. While Xing Minglan was napping in her room, Mama Su called Jing Yun to a corner and told him, since you're living with Minglan, you should settle things as soon as possible so that outsiders wouldn't gossip. You should settle things with Minglan now that your identity has been revealed, but before that, you have to go to the Xing family to propose marriage. I know, Mother. I'll prepare a gift for you. Bring more people with you when the time comes, and don't lose face as the young master of the Su family. Mama Su was actually afraid that Jing Yun would be bullied by the Xing family again. Incidentally, I have some matters to settle with the Xing family. Don't go overboard for Minglan's sake. Just know your limits. Jing Yun nodded. At the very least, he had to go to Jing Ting and hand over everything. Chapter 354. Mu Qiqi's complexion was terrible when she reached home. Her stomach had been emptied, so how could she be spirited? She had thought that her complexion would improve if she rested while Xing Xiao was not home. But how could she have known that Xing Xiao did not go to Huang Yao today? Xing Xiao's face fell when he saw Mu Qiqi's pale little face. Come here, no, I really stink today, more than ever before. Mu Qiqi refused and hugged herself. I'm going to take a shower. The perfume specially made for you has been delivered to the house. It's in the bathroom, but come here first. Xing Xiao called out to her patiently. Helpless, Mu Qiqi could only walk to Xing Xiao and sit beside him. Xing Xiao pulled her into his arms, cupped her face and studied it carefully. Vomiting? Yeah. Mu Qiqi nodded, and suddenly went limp in Xing Xiao's arms. It's disgusting. It's a male corpse today, and it's been more than 20 days since he died. The degree of decomposition is already colossal. Little one. Xing Xiao's heart ached. He knew what a forensic doctor's job was, and what they had to face. Such vomiting was a common occurrence, and there was no telling how long it would take for the little one to really adapt. Could it be that he would have to see her vomiting so pale every day? Xing Xiao hugged his little one for a while, before patting her head. Go take a shower. I'll have Aunt Wu make you something good for your stomach. But, there should be a smell on your body. Xing Xiao did not allow her to argue, and simply put down the documents and picked Mu Qiqi up. Both of them went to the bathroom and soaked in the water. Fortunately, the specially made perfume made Muchichi feel much better. What good stuff. Wouldn't it be great if forensic doctors could enjoy it? You ungrateful little one. Do you know how expensive one bottle is? Xing Xiao could not help poking her nose. The happiness of the rich is truly unimaginable. Muchichi sighed as she lay in the water. Since Muchichi's stomach was empty, Xing Xiao did not let her keep soaking in the water, and simply wrapped her up in a towel before carrying her to the bed. Why didn't you go to Huangyao today? I'm waiting for Jing Yun to come. He's the young master of the Su family now. There's no need for him to enter Huangyao personally. It sounds a little businesslike. How can there be someone who stays the same? The environment will change, and you have to learn to accept it. Hadn't Muchichi accepted enough along the way? Now that she was the granddaughter of the Shen family and Xing Zhao's fiancé, she also had her own responsibilities. She had never really treated herself as a crystal in Xing Zhao's palm that would shatter at the slightest touch. Then, there shouldn't be any problems with fourth sister and Jing Yun's marriage. After a while, Aunt Wu told them outside the door, "Young master, young madam, special assistant Jing is here. Dry it yourself. It has to be completely dry." Xing Xiao put the hairdryer in Muchichi's hand and changed into a clean set of clothes before heading downstairs. When Jing Yun arrived at Jingting, he was carrying a lot of documents. Apart from the ones Xing Xiao had to read, the rest were handled by Jing Yun. "Young master, Huang Yao has already suspended me from my duties, so there's no need to go through the formalities." "You're still calling me young master?" Xing Xiao found the documents amusing. "You're a disciple of a noble family now. You don't have to lower yourself. To me, you'll always be my young master." Jing Yun maintained his humble attitude towards Xing Xiao. "When are you going to tell me about fourth sister?" "In 2 days, I'll go to the Xing family to ask for her hand in marriage." Jing Yun replied. "When the time comes, I'll marry Minglan openly." The old man doesn't have time to care about you too, because this outcome isn't too bad for him. Still, you'd better straighten your posture, you're not the one begging him now. Xing Xiao said lazily. "I understand, I really shouldn't have sent sixth brother away. Let him open his eyes." At that thought, Xing Xiao suddenly had a mischievous idea. "Why don't I send him back?" "There's no need, young master. You have to keep an eye on your brother. He wouldn't let you stay in the Su family for too long, because you're a ticking time bomb to him." Xing Xiao reminded Jing Yun. "I understand. I'm doing everything I can to investigate his relationship with eldest uncle. It would be perfect if I could take off this person's mask during the reunion banquet." Even so, Su Yihong was not that easy to deal with. "All right, put it down and go back to work. You have to start anew after joining Su Holdings, and Huang Yao has nothing to do with you anymore. You and the Xing family owe each other nothing. After all, the Xing family had raised Jing Yun for so many years. Moreover, he had contributed much to the Xing family as well, and this exchange was to lighten the burden in his heart. Young master, can we still be like before? What do you want to change? Xing Xiao raised a brow at him. By the way, treat fourth sister better. Jing Yun nodded, and turned to leave Jingting. His current status was no longer what it used to be. Still, when he thought of sixth brother, Xing Xiao had someone tactfully spread the news that Jing Yun and Xing Minglan were going to marry each other even if Jing Yun didn't mind, although he did not tell him Jing Yun's true identity. He even found an excuse to send him back to the country. He just wanted to see how sixth brother would call Jing Yun a dog in front of his face. Meanwhile, when the old man learned that Jing Yun had handed over matters of Huang Yao, he had to accept that Jing Yun was now the young master of the Su family. Soon, the weekend came. Since old Sheng had an appointment with the Gu family, he left early in the morning, with no one knowing his whereabouts. It was naturally best for him to be as discreet as possible. What would happen if Xing Xiao found out? The Gu family sent Miss Gu's mother, and they met in a private room of a hotel. Sharing a glance, they knew that they were on the same wavelength. Old Xing spoke first. Madam Gu, you must be aware of my eighth brother's current situation. It's unbecoming of him to be obsessed with a teenage girl. Who in Jianchuan doesn't know that? Mama Gu nodded, indicating that she understood what the old man was thinking. That's why we were really surprised when you came to us. To tell you the truth, my Xiling has the same problem. She used to like a poor brat, and for the sake of this man, she almost died. A few days ago, the two of them finally broke up, so I brought up the matter with Xiling. I never thought that she would actually agree. After all, how many young ladies in Jianchuan could resist the crown prince's charm? Chapter 355. It's not that we don't want to, we just have to wait for the right time. That said, I do hope that Miss Gu could join the Xing family as soon as possible and learn how to manage the family. Old Xing told Mama Gu politely. As long as old Mr. Xing could pave the way for Xiling soon, I would do my best to persuade you. That's settled then. The two agreed. As for what old Xing would come up with to separate Xing Xiao and Mu Qiqi, the Gu family would wait and see. Sixth brother had gone all the way to Africa. When he learned that Jing Yun and Xing Minglan were about to get married, he was left fuming. The young lady of the Xing family, the great fourth miss, was actually marrying a penniless wretch. He really wanted to know what spell Jing Yun had cast on the old man that he would agree to the marriage even though the old man had always valued sectarianism. That was why he really could not hold back even if Xing Xiao forbade him from going home. Had his grandfather gone mad? No one had told sixth brother Jing Yun's identity, and no one in Jianchuan was aware that Jing Yun was the third young master of the Su family. Still, when he saw that he had immediately booked a flight home and remembered his pitiful sister who had been chased out of the family, why did eighth brother and his dog get to have their wishes fulfilled? Was he not convinced? Meanwhile, Jing Yun's plan to propose marriage to the Xing family had been settled. Still, he had not thought about how he should behave when he met old Sheng. Meanwhile, the old man was utterly reluctant when he learned that Jing Yun was going to the Xing family, even if he was not against the marriage between Jing Yun and fourth sister. Even so, he had to make the necessary arrangements. On the night of the next day, the old man had the Xing family return for a banquet. Soon, Jing Yun arrived with gifts, but he did not come alone this time. He had brought 4 bodyguards, and that was not counting the attendants who had helped him with the gifts. As expected, a person would become completely different once he gained power. Even the way you looked at him would change. Jing Yun is really different now that he's the young master of the Su family. That's right. The 4 bodyguards are clearly stopping the Xing family from insulting him again. I've seen the gifts too. They're all very valuable. As the Xing family discussed in private, the old man turned to Jing Yun. Jing Yun was still the same old Jing Yun, cold and aloof. Jing Yun, why didn't you tell us who you were earlier? In this way, the incident on that day would not have happened. It doesn't matter if I'm a member of the Su family or not. I sincerely want to marry Minglan. Jing Yun answered the old man. He had never sat at the guest seat in the Xing family for so many years. But that's not the same. The old man told Jing Yun honestly. You have to understand how much effort I put in as a grandfather. Minglan is a fine young lady. If I let her marry a bad man, how could I face her parents? So, am I worthy of Minglan now? Jing Yun asked old Sheng in return. That's for sure. The old man replied. Since you've come to propose today, we'll let bygones be bygones. Since you've come, it means that you're determined to marry Minglan. With that being the case, let's sit down and talk about the date of your wedding. But before that, I hope that everyone in Jianchuan knows about you, the young master of the Su family. Jing Yun hated every word that came out of the old man's mouth. Reputation, profit, those were all the old man cared about, and never cared if Minglan was living well. That was why he had to come today. He would free Minglan from the abyss of misery that was the Xing family. Eighth brother doesn't seem to be here tonight. The old man looked around but did not see either of them. He has always thought of you as a brother. Why isn't he here on such an important day? And why isn't Minglan home when we're clearly talking about your wedding? Jing Yun thought about it for a moment before answering the old man. Because she said that she doesn't want to come back, she's more at home with the Su family. How can you talk to your father like that, Jing Yun? Fourth uncle retorted coldly. Those are Minglan's words. Fourth sister hasn't married into the Su family yet. But in my heart, she's already my wife. Jing Yun was neither servile nor overbearing. He no longer had the dejection of an assistant of the Xing family, and now had a new identity. Fourth uncle Sheng was left speechless. That was when Xing Xiao and Mu Qiqi appeared before the crowd. Sorry, we're late. Since you're back, let's talk about fourth sister and Jing Yun's wedding. The old man told Xing Xiao. Of course, Mu Qiqi had no place in his eyes at all. I'm only concerned about how much dowry you prepared for fourth sister. Xing Xiao raised a brow. That was when sixth brother rushed back to the Xing family's residence, only to find Jing Yun in the living room. Dropping his luggage, he went up and grabbed Jing Yun's collar, only to be thrown over his shoulder by Jing Yun's bodyguard, who landed heavily on the ground. Sixth brother rose to his feet in pain and pointed at Jing Yun's nose, barking, "You pathetic dog. How dare you sit here? Don't tell me you really want something to happen with fourth sister? I'm telling you, that's impossible. This is the Xing family." Shut up, sixth brother. The old man was furious. He had been avoiding an awkward situation all night, but he did not expect that sixth brother's return would catch him off guard. Grandfather, what kind of magic potion did eighth brother feed you? Sixth young master, he's innocent. I won't hold a grudge against him. Jing Yun said magnanimously then. But the tone of his voice was clearly sharp. That was when sixth brother laughed. Who do you think you are? Those who don't know are innocent. What a joke. Sixth brother, that's the third young master of the Su family. Don't you be rude. The old man couldn't hold back any longer and told sixth brother the truth. Jing Yun is no longer the Jing Yun you used to be. Don't embarrass me. At that, sixth brother pointed at Jing Yun and laughed. Him? Don't tell me he's impersonating you to get your approval. Look at him, grandfather. How does he look like a young master of a rich family? Xing Xiao said nothing in response, and simply looked at Jing Yun. Chapter 356. Sixth brother, apologized to Jing Yun. The old man instructed. Grandfather, I told you to apologize. You already know who he is, and yet you're still causing trouble. Don't the Su family know how to verify his identity? The Su family has already verified Jing Yun's identity, so stop causing trouble for the Xing family. Sixth brother was promptly stunned at the old man's words, a look of disbelief on his face. He's actually the son of a rich family. He's really become a phoenix. Apologized to Jing Yun. Sixth brother was utterly indignant, but still walked up to Jing Yun and said, I was being rude just now. I hope you won't hold it against me, young Master Su. Jing Yun rose from his chair, picked up the teacup beside him and poured tea over sixth brother's head right in front of the Xing family. Now, we're even. Jing Yun, don't be so condescending now that you're in power. Sixth brother was furious. If it wasn't for Minglan, I would have turned you into a dog and barked in front of me instead of just a cup of tea. Mu Qiqi looked at Jing Yun, and then at Xing Xiao beside her. As the saying goes, one is marked by the company one keeps. Jing Yun was really the same as her, having inherited Xing Xiao's disdain for everyone around him. Alright, it's a good day today. Jing Yun, you're here to propose marriage, so it's best not to strain your relationship with the Xing family. After all, this is fourth sister's maiden home. However, it was not just Jing Yun. Even Xing Minglan herself had never considered the Xing family as a maternal family she could rely on. To put it bluntly, Jing Yun was simply informing the old man that he was marrying Xing Minglan. If the Su family was happy, they would simply invite the old man over for a drink. If they were unhappy, they would simply settle the matter, leaving the Xing family with no drama to play. After being humiliated, sixth brother turned to glare at Xing Shao resentfully. After all, he was convinced that Xing Shao must have given him the wrong information to lure him back, so that he could avenge Jing Yun right in front of him. After all, he had always called out to Jing Yun as a dog. The Su family's reunion banquet is in a few days. I'm planning to announce my relationship with Minglan there too. That's for the best. If the people of Jianchuan didn't know about Jing Yun's identity, he couldn't afford to lose face and spread rumors that his granddaughter was having an affair with a servant. When the time comes, I hope that all of you will come. That night, the old man learned how different Jing Yun was after becoming a member of the Su family. That was why he liked power so much. It was because only those with power had the right to speak. Just look at Jing Yun now. Wasn't he just a matter of opening his mouth if he wanted something? There was no need to be as desperate as before. Soon, Jing Yun left with his bodyguards, and that was when sixth brother pointed at Xing Shao. It's you. You deliberately spread the news to me and lured me here. You're the one who doesn't have a brain. Why are you blaming me? Xing Shao smiled in return. There's a saying that goes, every dog has its day. You used to look down on Jing Yun and his background, but from now on, you'll suffer as long as he tries to get back at you. You probably never thought that this day would come when you called him a dog. You. There was hatred in sixth brother's eyes. What he hated most was being treated like a puppet by Xing Shao and manipulated as he pleased. Let's go home, Holding Mu Qiqi's hand, Xing Shao followed Jing Yun out of the Xing residence. At this time, the old man looked at the backs of the two people as they left. He had a meaningful look on his face. The Gu family had agreed to it, and Miss Gu had given her consent. After Xing Minglan's matter was settled, it would be Xing Zhao's turn anyway. He was still thinking that he could bring Miss Gu to the Xing family on his birthday, and when that time comes, Mu Qiqi would have to give way to Miss Gu, but Mu Qiqi wasn't the kind of person who would give way. She still wanted to hold the title of Xing Zhao's woman for life. Don't bother with Xing Shao and that Mu Qiqi now. You won't be around for long. Old Xing told sixth brother. Sixth brother wasn't smart, but he caught the meaning in the old man's words. Grandfather, you're saying, don't be so flustered. It's only a matter of time. Sixth brother cleared the tea leaves off his head, and only then did he feel better. Xing Shao, Mu Qiqi. Let's see how long you can keep being arrogant. Soon, Jing Yun returned to the Su residence, where Xing Minglan and Mama Su were waiting for him in the living room. Did everything go well? Reasonably speaking, your father and I should show up, but I don't want to give that old man so much face. Don't worry. Everything went well. Jing Yun replied. Go upstairs with Minglan and get some rest. Mama Su urged them. Still, you have to be careful. Even if it's nothing new to get married with a child, you have to consider your father's face and restrain yourself before the wedding. Xing Minglan blushed at those words. Jing Yun held Xing Minglan's hand and led her to their bedroom. You don't have to go back as long as you don't have to interact with the Xing family. Xing Minglan reached out and hugged Jing Yun, nodding in his arms. You're holding back from me, aren't you? I'm not like young master in the first place. I can't do such a flashy vengeance, and as long as the Xing family doesn't make things difficult for me, I won't target them since I owe them a debt. We'll start all over from now on. They hugged each other resolutely, but Jing Yun kept Mama Su's words in mind. He wanted to give Xing Minglan a wedding like no other, and she wouldn't look good in a wedding dress if she was pregnant. I'll marry you soon. Mu Qiqi never imagined that there would be a day when Jing Yun would treat someone like that, pouring tea over sixth brother's head. Even now, when he recalled that scene, he would still feel extremely satisfied. Did I tell you to stay in bed after your bath so you could laugh? Xing Shao returned to the bedroom with a towel wrapped around his waist, promptly pinching Mu Qiqi's nose when he saw her smile. Mu Qiqi pulled off his towel and squeezed herself into his arms. I was laughing at Grandpa's compromising look. Xing Shao wrapped his arms around her, only to find that his little one wasn't wearing pajamas either. Hence, he lifted her chin and asked, "What are you doing?" Mu Qiqi's eyes sparkled with extreme infatuation as she looked at Xing Xiao. "What do you think? I want you to tell me." Chapter 357. Old Sheng was wary of the Su family's background, which was why he agreed to Jing Yun and Xing Minglan's marriage. Still, he did not specifically bother Xing Xiao or Mu Qiqi, which left Xing Xiao puzzled. With the old man's volatile temper, the first person he would deal with after Xing Minglan's matter would be Xing Zhao's Qi. Even so, the old man had not made a move until now, which was rather unusual. Xing Xiao had Mama Xing pay special attention to the old man's movements, but aside from the few times he left the house without letting his family know, there was really nothing out of the ordinary. His birthday was in March, and Xing Xiao would definitely be on his guard. Of course, no one knew that the great crown prince of Huang Yao was already preparing to shift his focus to do something great with his father-in-law. Be that as long as the old man did not go overboard, he would not tell anyone about it. But if the old man really did something else to Mu Qiqi, there was nothing he could do. Meanwhile, the Su couple had asked Sui Hong to arrange an appropriate position for Jing Yun in Su Holdings. Sui Hong agreed to help his younger brother as well, and let Jing Yun know what aspects Su Holdings was involved in as soon as possible. That was a breakthrough point for Sui Hong against Jing Yun. "Since your identity is still unknown, I can't put you in a position that's too obvious. I could only have you work at the grassroots level, and get a general idea of Su Holdings." "You've thought it through, brother," Jing Yun said to Sui Hong discreetly. At the end of the day, Sui Hong was just using this method to provoke Jing Yun. The young master of the Su family was actually being assigned to the most basic of positions. It would be a humiliation for anyone, and he wanted Jing Yun to complain to the Su couple. That way, he could easily incite conflict between Jing Yun and his parents. But, he was wrong. First, Jing Yun knew that he was the mastermind behind his abandonment, which was why he knew that the old man would deliberately set a trap for him. Second, Jing Yun was not an impetuous person. Moreover, he believed that he should be in contact with the lowest levels of Su Holdings. Everything should be learned from the basics, which was why he did not find it humiliating. After all, the people of Jianchuan recognized his ability and knew that he was not a good-for-nothing. Therefore, Sui Hong's move was, in truth, nothing more than shooting himself in the foot in the end. Even so, he had to hurry up and investigate the connection between Sui Hong and the eldest uncle of the Su family. At this time, Lin Mu had just returned to school and was about to face the holidays again. However, he did not want to go back to the Lin family. That was why he called Lu Qianqian on the first night of the holidays. "I'm on vacation, little pepper. You have no sympathy at all. You know I ran away from home, and yet you leave me to fend for myself. What else?" Lu Qianqian changed her clothes while talking to Lin Mu on the phone. "I don't believe that you really have nowhere to go. I used to have a lot of friends, but they are all fair-weather friends. I'm afraid they won't agree to stay with me now," Lin Mu replied. "Who told you to lose power?" Lu Qianqian wanted to bite him through the phone. "You have a month's holiday, right? And are you really not going back to the Lin family for the new year?" "I don't want to." Lin Mu answered Lu Qianqian very firmly. "If I go back to the Lin family, Grandpa will come up with all kinds of traps and tricks to stop me from going back to the police academy. I don't want to take the risk anymore. If that's the case, I'll reluctantly accept you." Lu Qianqian pretended to sigh. "You can be my bodyguard for this month. I'm lacking a sparring partner and a punching bag anyway." "Then where should I stay?" "Your little boudoir. The storeroom suits you quite well. What do you think?" Lu Qianqian drove Lin Mu to the police academy gates, and they left together. Meanwhile, Grandpa Lin's hands trembled uncontrollably as he watched his grandson being taken away by Lu Qianqian. Those two are still in contact after all. Since that animal wants to suffer, I'll fulfill his wish. Lin Mu kept feeling a cold breeze blowing at him from behind, and wondered if he was being overly suspicious. To tell the truth, I just need a simple place to stay. It's about the same as the police academy. I'll gladly endure it. Tsk. A young master of the Lin family is actually freeloading off a woman like me. Didn't I say that I'll be your bodyguard? Lin Mu An's training these days had yielded great results. When I graduate from the police academy, you'll be the biggest contributor. Lu Qianqian smiled mockingly at Lin Mu An. Then I'll have to trouble you, young Master Lin. In fact, Lu Qianqian had prepared a small apartment for Lin Mu An. It was a very simple apartment. The two walked around the small apartment, and then sat in the living room to drink, just like the last time at the hotel. As expected, you're my best friend, Lu Qianqian looked at Lin Mu An. He had become sturdier, and his figure had become better. He looked much more manly now. Then how are you going to introduce me to a girlfriend you like in the future? Lu Qianqian asked Lin Mu An, holding a bottle of wine. Lin Mu An put his arm around Lu Qianqian's neck, and said half-drunk, I'll break up with anyone who doesn't accept you as my best friend. Lu Qianqian's heart skipped a beat at that. Not many women would accept their boyfriend to have a female confidant. So what? I like it. Lin Mu An's alcohol tolerance was actually very good, but he was outclassed by Lu Qianqian, who had cultivated herself. So, when Lin Mu An collapsed on the floor, Lu Qianqian was still very sober. Watching Lin Mu An's sleeping face, Lu Qianqian leaned over the table and whispered, Me too. If anyone dares to say anything about your existence, I'll tell them to get lost. With that, she picked up a blanket from the bed and put it over Lin Mu An. Good night, future Officer Lin. Little Pepper. Lin Mu An smiled in his sleep. I'll protect you for the rest of my life. I'll protect my best friend. Idiot. Lu Qianqian scolded him with a smile, and returned home late at night. Because she didn't want to be caught and humiliated by old Master Lin once more, when she got home, Mama Lu smelled alcohol on her, and advised her, Qianqian, don't give up on yourself because of what happened in the past. What are you thinking, Mom? I'm drinking with Lin Mu An. Lu Qianqian quickly explained. He's left the Lin family and doesn't even have a place to stay. I can't just stand by as he and I are friends, and I've taken him in as my bodyguard. Really just friends? Mama Lu confirmed with Lu Qianqian. Chapter 358. Old Xing wanted Mu Qiqi to give up her position to Miss Gu, but he had to mend his relationship with Mu Qiqi and eighth brother before that, or he wouldn't have the chance to get close to Mu Qiqi at all. After all, he knew very well that the harder he treated eighth brother, the more Xing Xiao would retaliate. Of course, he couldn't be friendly to them for no reason. Given how smart eighth brother was, wouldn't that be telling him that he had something to gain from it? He had to set it up meticulously to avoid Xing Xiao's suspicion. Mending their relationship could be done at the same time as contacting Miss Gu. Meanwhile, Xing Xiao had transferred second brother back from abroad to groom the person in charge of Huang Yao. His excuse was that Jing Yun had returned to the Su family, and he needed someone capable to share the burden. Second brother had always been convinced of Xing Xiao's ability, and had been diligent and never slacking off over the years. Since Xing Xiao had summoned him this time, he naturally had to find someone abroad to handle the handover. And in Xing Xiao's mind, second brother had more than enough talent, but he wasn't ruthless enough. Still, that wasn't a problem. At the very least, he was 100 times better than a good-for-nothing like sixth brother. Old Xing didn't notice anything amiss with Xing Xiao's excuse. He was naturally happy that another grandson was coming home, but he would never know that Xing Xiao was smarter than he imagined, and more meticulous as well. Wouldn't the few times he went out without telling the Xing family that he was meeting people attract suspicion? The old man simply believed that he was in control of the situation. In the evening, Mu Qiqi had dinner with Xing Xiao, and the two of them sat in the study, each busy with their own matters. Watching Mu Qiqi's back as she wrote her report, Xing Xiao suddenly smiled and reached out to pull her into his arms. I'm going to the airport tomorrow to meet second brother of the Xing family. Muqiqi could tell from Xing Zhao's expression that second brother wasn't a bad person since he was going to the airport. Jing Yun's gone. Did you ask him to come back and help you? Xing Zhao hummed softly in acknowledgement. He had not revealed anything to Muqiqi until now. Muqiqi studied Xing Zhao carefully and smiled slyly. Are you hiding something from me? When Xing Zhao heard that, he suddenly became playful. How did you know that? Who can tell what you're thinking? Muqiqi snorted. I just have this intuition. If you can't see anything, go take a shower. Xing Zhao patted her head. I'll take you to see your aunt tomorrow. All right. Xing Zhao's smile deepened as he watched Muqiqi get up. He wanted to protect the little one's ever-happy smile the most. He did not want her to change her quirky personality just because she had to face the Xing family. She had promised Shen Jianchuan that she would make Muqiqi happy in the Xing family. But now, he was afraid that this wish could not be realized. The strength he used on the old man could totally be used to rebuild an empire. Since that was the case, why fight that tough battle again? After Muqiqi went upstairs, Xing Zhao put down the documents in his hand and called his father-in-law. I've read the resumes of these people. That Su Che meets my requirements. You're quite picky. Su Che was a retired Special Forces soldier. Shen Jianchuan smiled. Still, being your assistant doesn't require extraordinary abilities. All right, I'll arrange for you to meet him later. But aren't you going to tell Muqiqi? She would know when the time is right. Since it is a military enterprise, it is not like Huang Yao, which needs to understand management and diamonds. He chose Su Che because Su Che knows a lot of weapons, which ordinary assistants can't catch up to. Moreover, if there is an emergency, Su Che can protect himself and Good boy. Good. He'll report to you in 2 days. As a matter of fact, the person Xing Zhao should be communicating with the most was his mother. However, he knew that Mama Sheng would definitely be suspicious of his arrangements, which was why he did not have to tell her. The next day, the couple went to the airport to pick up Xing Zhao. When Muqiqi saw second brother, she immediately understood why Xing Zhao would think of him as an elder brother. Since they were cousins, they certainly shared some similarities. On the other hand, this brother of his had clear eyes and was frank with others, which suited Xing Zhao's taste at first glance. You must be the youngest sister-in-law, Muqiqi. Second brother extended a hand to Muqiqi. Your name really rings like thunder. Muqiqi shook his hand and smiled. You're flattering me. I'm really sorry that I didn't even come when you got engaged. Still, so many things have happened at home while I was abroad. It feels like a lifetime has passed, especially Jing Yun's matter. You're probably not used to it without him, are you? What do you think? Xing Zhao lifted a brow at second brother. Then I'll come back and take over Jing Yun's job as your assistant. No. I have other arrangements for my assistant. You're more suited for another position. Xing Zhao said mysteriously. Second brother appeared puzzled. Although he had always been impressed by eighth brother's intelligence, he was afraid that he could not have the rapport with Xing Zhao like Jing Yun did with someone smart. Both brothers were dressed in black tailored suits and had tall and slender figures. Still, Xing Zhao exuded a dangerous aura from inside out. The old man was very happy as well, and prepared a sumptuous dinner to welcome his grandson back home. That night, the old man ignored Muqiqi's existence and focused on enjoying family time with his grandson. Of course, the fact that he did not bother Muqiqi was already the greatest gift to her. But Muqiqi did not know that it was the beginning of the old man's change in attitude towards her. After dinner, Mama Xing winked at Xing Zhao, and the two of them went to the Xing family's golf course. Eighth brother, you called your second brother back and want to recommend him to be the vice president. Do you have other plans? No one knows a son better than a mother. Xing Zhao smiled at Mama Xing. Mom, did you know that the old man had been meeting some mysterious people behind the Xing family's back recently? What does he mean? You'll have to ask him about that. Xing Xiao answered meaningfully. I have to leave a path of retreat for you and Qi. Don't say anything in the Xing family. Qi doesn't know about it either. You're keeping it from Xiao Qi. Chapter 359. Then what do you need me to do? Xing Xiao turned to look at his mother. You don't have to do anything. Just be like before. But Mom, you have to make a choice. Stay with the Xing family or leave. Mama Xing took a deep breath and nodded. I'll think about it. Mu Qiqi could not help frowning when she saw them return from the golf course. Are you whispering to Mom? What? Are you jealous? Xing Xiao asked in return. Is there anything I can't know? Although Mu Qiqi knew that Xing Xiao had many secrets in his heart, it was the first time he avoided her like that. The little one is getting harder to manage, she's getting more scheming too. I'll tell you in the future, but I have to keep it a secret for now. Xing Xiao said, hugging her and bidding farewell to the rest of the Xing family before leaving with Mu Qiqi. Since Xing Xiao had explained it, Mu Qiqi did not have to mind. All she wanted was an attitude from him. On the other hand, the old man finally had a good impression of Xing Xiao because he was willing to help his brother. That was because he never imagined that Xing Xiao would have the idea of independence, and believed that the crown prince would take over Huang Yao no matter what. But he simply did not know that Huang Yao held no weight in Xing Xiao's heart. 2 days later, the young man named Su Che reported to Jing Ting. Mu Qiqi asked Xing Xiao in confusion when she saw how young and strong he was. Don't I have a bodyguard? This is my new assistant. Xing Xiao told Mu Qiqi. Su Che. Chief Sheng, young madam. Su Che bowed to them like a soldier. How old is this kid? You've been hired as an assistant. Mu Qiqi could not be blamed for being puzzled. Su Che was born with a baby face and was very popular in the army because of his fair and tender face. Su Che, tell your young madam how old you are. Xing Xiao could not help sneering. I'm 23. Su Che quickly answered. Damn, I thought you were only 18. Without realizing it, Mu Qiqi gave Su Che a thumbs up. You guys talk. I'm going upstairs to freshen up. Even then, Mu Qiqi did not find it strange. After all, Jingyun often came to Jing Ting, but she did not know that the difference between Su Che and Jingyun was that Su Che would never appear in Huang Yao, because Su Che was on Xing Xiao and Shen Jianchuan's side. Moreover, he would only help Xing Xiao with matters on that side. Su Che, although you're my assistant, Xiao Qi comes first in everything. As long as it involves her, you have to put her first. Secondly, you don't have to answer Xiao Qi's questions now. I will tell her in the future. I understand, Chief Sheng. Xing Xiao trusted a soldier's strict style. After all, he had learned about Su Che's performance in the army. Since that's the case, you should be more careful in the future. In public, try to pretend that you don't know me. This was naturally a piece of cake for a soldier. Xing Xiao was very satisfied with Su Che. After all, he was someone his father-in-law had selected. Of course, he was better than those good-for-nothings outside. Meanwhile, at the Su residence, Su Yihong had assigned Jingyun to the Su family's purchasing department. According to him, he wanted Jingyun to quickly familiarize himself with what the Su family did for a living, and how they got their stuff. He wouldn't let Jingyun go to the sales department or the Su family's R&D department, leaving Jingyun hanging in suspense. Moreover, the people in the purchasing department were not aware of Jingyun's identity, and were very curious about this employee who had been dropped in out of nowhere. Seeing that Su Yihong had arranged for Jingyun, Mr. and Mrs. Su asked him while Jingyun was not home, "What are you thinking?" "Mom, I want third brother to try out every department. That way, you would be able to see if he's capable, and it would be the fastest way for him to familiarize himself with Su Holdings. There are many ways to familiarize himself with Su Holdings, and we have enough specialists. Moreover, he had been with the Crown Prince of Huang Yao for so long, why are you still doubting his ability?" Mom, trust me. I can take care of my brother. Mama Sue was about to say something else, but Papa Sue stopped her. Ihong is right. Let Fong try. The truth was that he did not want Suihong to think that he had neglected his eldest son's feelings after finding Jingyun. And since Suihong had chosen to do so, he was naturally confident that his parents would agree. As for whether Jingyun would feel wronged, it was none of his business. Jingyun knew what Suihong was thinking. Moreover, Suihong had clearly instructed the people in the purchasing department to give him a hard time. Was he trying to test his patience? Did he not know how easy it was for the purchasing department to make mistakes? Xing Minglan, on the other hand, was working at her own company as usual. Still, Jingyun did not tell her about it, or she would never let it go. Still, what kind of people had he not seen after working for Xing Xiao for so many years? That was why he installed an invisible camera on his computer on the second day he joined the purchasing department. Naturally, he wanted to know who was human and who was a ghost. Still, the purchasing department was unaware that Suihong had personally given the order to suppress Jingyun. They simply listened to the orders from above, and Jingyun would naturally not blame Suihong when the time came. Hence, someone came to test the clarity of the camera just after it was installed. Seizing the opportunity when Jingyun was not around, he splashed a cup of water on the purchasing list his supervisor had just given him. It was a manuscript, and Jingyun was supposed to check it against the list on the computer, but now, the manuscript was soaked in water. Jingyun laughed coldly when he saw it from his phone in the pantry, before returning to his post. At the moment, his colleagues looked as if they did not know what was going on. Even so, Jingyun was not used to their habit, and promptly put the soaked manuscript in front of the culprit. I believe you have a responsibility. Help me restore the information on the manuscript. The man's face dropped in shock. I don't know what you're talking about. Everyone else looked as if they were watching a good show. You don't have to know what I'm talking about, but I remember the look on your face when you knocked over my cup. Jingyun replied calmly. The man was stunned, and blushed in embarrassment. Don't slander me. I never slander anyone, but I'm not one to hold back. Restore my information, or I won't be the only one to admire your face. The man promptly lowered his head at that, avoiding the question. Got it. Everyone looked at Jingyun's face. Was he a pushover? Such a straightforward counterattack. Chapter 360. As a matter of fact, Jingyun had a habit of making backups, since he would always take photos of things like manuscripts. After working for Xing Xiao for so long, would he be interested in such petty tricks? It was no different from scratching an itch, and not stirring any desire to win. Still, he did not tell that person that he had the information, because he wanted that person to know the consequences of provoking him. Everyone in the office fell silent at that. That was clearly a tough nut to crack, and yet someone was so reckless as to run into it. Still, there was more to come. Once Jingyun's identity was revealed, everyone in the office would probably scram out of fear of retribution. Jingyun was still Jingyun. No matter how smart Suihong was, he would have to admit defeat against someone trained by Xing Xiao. Naturally, Jingyun had his men investigate the matter between Suihong and the eldest uncle of the Su family. He believed that his ability was not in the purchasing department anyway. That very night, Jingyun received a call. That was why he brought Xing Minglan to Jingting. Why are you coming to me now that you're the third young master of the Su family? Xing Xiao frowned in displeasure. Knowing that he was not really disgusted, Xing Minglan retorted, Am I not your fourth sister even if Jingyun isn't your assistant? What's new? I've sent people to investigate around the eldest uncle of the Su family, and found out about an old incident. Jingyun told Xing Xiao. He still saw Xing Xiao as his young master, and the way they spoke was the same as before. Speak. Xing Xiao hugged Mu Qiqi and leaned lazily on the sofa. Big Uncle once had two lovers outside. One of them was discovered by Big Aunt, and she cried and made a scene. After that, she died. As for the other one, Big Uncle hid it very well. It is said that the two of them even gave birth to a son. What's the connection? The connection is that the child was born in the same hospital as eldest brothers, and the child was born before eldest brother by a few days. No one in the Su family knows about it. What about the child? Xing Xiao had already figured out the crux of the matter. He died when he was 2, and eldest uncle gave the woman a sum of money. They were even after that, and the woman left the country. How could you find out about such a thing? Xing Xiao pointed at Jing Yun. It sounded like he was mocking him, but his actual words were well done. It took some effort, Jing Yun admitted. What else is there to say? Go and do a DNA test with your brother and your parents. In fact, Jing Yun had already guessed that Sui Hong had a motive for what happened all those years ago. But even so, we didn't find any evidence that he abandoned me. Let's set up a trap. Xing Xiao narrowed his eyes and instructed Jing Yun just like before. Your brother isn't letting you have it easy, is he? It's all right. Jing Yun did not admit it in front of Xing Minglan. Of course, Xing Xiao did not continue. Since things are settled, shouldn't you leave? The little thing and I still need to rest. Mu Qiqi blushed. Xiao Xiao, what are you talking about? Xing Minglan covered her mouth and chuckled. I didn't know you were so impatient. Well, we're going back. Jing Yun held Xing Minglan's hand as they left Jingting. He was even more certain of his hunch after hearing Xing Zhao's answer. His father and his eldest uncle had fought over the management rights, and the eldest uncle had every reason to switch the child. Even if his father won and gave the rights to Sui Hong, the outcome would be the same, it would still be given to the eldest uncle. Moreover, no one knew that the mistress had a child at the time, and his real brother had died. That was the best cover for Sui Hong. I didn't expect the Su family to have so many traps. Xing Minglan sighed on the way back. Still, it's Sui Hong's bad luck to run into you and eighth brother. Anyone else would have fallen into Sui Hong's trap over and over again. Young master's intellect is peerless. Brains are useful, but not everyone can control them. Who else aside from Mu Qiqi could stand eighth brother? Every carrot has its own pit, and every pot lid has its head. A tortoise goes with. Xing Minglan did not really say the word tortoise, but she chuckled. Since we're going to do a DNA test, leave it to me. I'm not restricted at home since you're all at work. Jing Yun shook his head. No. Why? His room would definitely be guarded. Jing Yun said. How could someone like Sui Hong not know that there were surveillance cameras in his office if even he knew about it? I've always wondered why he didn't marry before, but I understand now. He would have a higher chance of being exposed if he had married early, and there would be no way to deal with his wife and children. That's why he might as well not marry and find a stable partner, and only marry and have children when he has real power. That would be perfect. What do you plan to do, then? There would be times when he would be careless if they lived together. That would depend on observation. All right then. Xing Minglan gave up on the idea of going to Sui Hong's room. After all, Sui Hong would definitely be prepared and Mama Su went to get the fake's DNA. Meanwhile, over at Jingting, Mu Qiqi was still nestled in Xing Zhao's arms after Jing Yun and Xing Minglan left, sighing. I'm relieved that Jing Yun is no different from before. What do you think he would become? Snobbish, greedy, and greedy. Mu Qiqi pointed with her fingers as an example. You have many friends, but not many of them are brothers. I don't want you to lose a brother. You're thinking too much. Xing Xiao couldn't help chuckling. Jing Yun would never change. He would never change. But that makes things even more interesting, don't you think? Xing Xiao promptly picked Mu Qiqi up from the sofa at that. Was that the only thing that had become interesting? It had taken him quite a bit of effort to find out who the old man had met during his mysterious trips. The Gu family. After meeting the Gu family, what happened next? Was he already looking for a replacement for Qi? No wonder the old man had not given a hard time recently. It turned out that he had other plans. Of course, if the old man really dared to do that, he could not be blamed. After all, this was the world of the young. How could the old man's old ways work? When Jing Yun gets the evidence and exposes Sui Hong, I want to join in the fun. Chapter 361. Then, the Gu family came to ask when old Sheng would settle things between Xing Xiao and Mu Qiqi, and make room for the young lady of the Gu family. After all, she was the young lady of an aristocratic family. It was impossible for her to meddle in someone else's relationship when Xing Xiao still had a fiancé. How could she explain that to Xing Xiao? Old Xing had been racking his brains lately, since Xing Xiao was so smart that nothing could be hidden from him. And it was in that moment that sixth brother, who had been searching for his sister for a long time, actually found her. But now, Xing Minghui no longer looked like the daughter of the Xing family. Sixth brother was heartbroken when he saw her, and stormed back to Xing mansion, telling Grandpa Sheng, "Grandpa, I've found seventh sister." "But do you know where I found her?" Old Xing's hands froze at the thought of seventh sister, and he looked up at him. "Hurry up and tell me." "Grandpa." Old Xing's eyes welled with tears, and he promptly knelt before the old man. Seventh sister shouldn't be chased out of the family no matter how wrong she was. I found her in a nightclub. She's seriously ill, and is now in the hospital. She's humiliated and defiled like this, and it's crushing my heart. The old man's eyes widened at that. What's wrong with her? It's better if you don't know. Sixth brother couldn't help crying. Either way, there's no way she could marry a man with a clean conscience. The old man did a double take, and rose to his feet. "Take me to her." "There's no need, Grandpa. She doesn't even know you now." Sixth brother knelt in front of Grandpa Sheng and grabbed his pants. "Grandpa, I really can't take it lying down after seeing seventh sister like that. Mu Qiqi hurt seventh sister like that. Does she still want to marry into the Xing family? Grandpa, please deal with Mu Qiqi. Do you think I have the final say in this matter?" "It's eighth brother." Old Xing snorted. "If eighth brother wants to protect Mu Qiqi, who in the family could touch her?" "Grandpa, has Mu Qiqi not brought enough trouble to the Xing family? Do you really have the heart to let her become the mistress of the Xing family? Then us brothers will have a hard time. Grandfather, I really suggest that we break off the engagement with the Xing family. If you don't believe me, have everyone in the Xing family visit seventh sister and see if the Xing family can tolerate her." At sixth brother's words, the old man suddenly had a new plan. Using Xing Minghui's matter as a pretext, he might be able to sever their fiancé nominally. Moreover, the Xing family had no room to refute. As long as the two of them broke off the engagement, things would be much easier. "Tomorrow, ask your parents to visit old Seven." Old Master Xing sighed. Finally, after being troubled for so many days, he found a breakthrough. "Try to make the matter as big as possible." "I understand." Sixth brother wiped away his tears and rose to his feet. Whether eighth brother really likes Mu Qiqi or not, the Xing family has no place for her. If eighth brother can't bear it, he should get out of the Xing family. "No. I just want Mu Qiqi to get out." Given how important eighth brother was to Huang Yao, he did not want to suffer a double loss. That was why he had to find an excuse to have Miss Gu join the Xing family. That way, there would be a chance for Xing Xiao and Miss Gu to develop a relationship. That was why the old man was prepared to make things difficult for Mu Qiqi. Late at night, at the Su family's home. As the reunion banquet was drawing near, the Su couple were checking the guest list in the living room, while Sui Hong was beside them to see if there were any guests they had missed. Soon, Jing Yun led Xing Minglan into the main entrance of the Su family's home. Seeing that everyone else was present, he sat down with Xing Minglan across from her father and brother. "Thong, you're back. How's work?" "Everything's fine, mother," Jing Yun said. After all, after he had punished the troublemaker colleague, the other pretentious scoundrels were much more discreet. At the very least, they would not dare to trouble him openly. You don't know, mother, but the head of the purchasing department told me that third brother is astonishingly capable. Sui Hong smiled at Mama Su even as he sipped his coffee. That's good. Mama Su was pleased, and kept her head down to check the guest list. Even so, Jing Yun's gaze fell upon Sui Hong's coffee cup. I think I'm going to transfer third brother to another department soon. Third brother, third sister-in-law, dad, mom. I'm going to rest. With that, Sui Hong took his coffee cup to the kitchen. But he did not wash it. He went straight upstairs after he left the kitchen. Jing Yun shot Xing Minglan a look and said, Minglan, could you get me a cup of water? Wait for me. Xing Minglan understood Jing Yun's meaning, and went into the kitchen to hide the coffee cup Sui Hong used just now, replacing it with a similar one. Then, she took some hot water and left the kitchen for Jing Yun. Stay with mom and dad for a while. I'm going up. All right. Xing Minglan did not touch the cup because she had covered it with plastic wrap, and carefully took it out when she returned to her room. Soon, Jing Yun followed her upstairs as well. His eyes darkened when he saw the cup. But I haven't gotten your father's yet. Otherwise, I could have given it out later. What do I need my father's for? Mine will do. Jing Yun told Xing Minglan. But I need an excuse to leave. That's easy. Just say that eighth brother called for us. Jing Yun nodded and washed up as usual. But soon, he brought Xing Minglan downstairs. Where are you going? Auntie, eighth brother wants us to go to Jingting. We'll be right back. Xing Minglan quickly explained to Mama Su. Mama Su nodded. Don't be late. Upstairs, Sui Hong watched as the two left, but did not suspect that the coffee cup he used just now had been swapped. He was aware that Jing Yun was a schemer, but did not know that Jing Yun was trained by Xing Shao, and he was not just smart on the surface. The two promptly sent the sample to the identification center, and the outcome would be clear once they verified that Jing Yun and Sui Hong were biological brothers. The reunion is in a few days, and the results would be out. What do you plan to do then? Xing Minglan asked Jing Yun, although she was actually worried about him. As long as he doesn't bother me during the reunion, I won't embarrass my parents. We'll talk about it in private. Jing Yun replied, looking at Xing Minglan. Moreover, I have to set up a trap to get evidence that he abandoned me. Chapter 362. When the Xing family heard that sixth brother had found seventh sister and that she was in the hospital, they all took some time off to visit her. At first, Grandpa Sheng had arranged for the Xing family to put on a show and stand up against Muchichi. But when they saw what happened to seventh sister, they were filled with rage. The young lady of the Xing family was now tormented to the point that she was neither human nor ghost. She was violated in a nightclub by a man and was now seriously ill. There was no need for an act. Third uncle and third aunt of the Xing family were directly kneeling before Grandpa Sheng, begging him to stand up for their daughter. Usually, the couple did not have the right to care about their child. But this time, with sixth brother's hint, Grandpa Sheng would definitely stand up for Xing Minghui. The woman on the sickbed was thin and weak. Moreover, she was not in her right mind. No one could imagine how much she had been through. And with that thought, everyone's hatred for Muchichi deepened. Father. Seventh sister has become like this, you have to stand up for us. Grandpa Xing clasped his hands behind his back, his heart pained as well. This concerns the friendship between the Sheng and Shen families. I need to arrange it carefully. When seventh sister feels better, I'll talk to old Shen. Once this matter was told to the Shen family, it would be impossible to retrieve the spilt water and there would be no turning back. Father, don't be fooled by Xing Shao this time. He certainly would not miss such a good opportunity. However, he only blamed it on Muchichi. He did not remember who chased Xing Minghui out of the house. Was it Muchichi? Since it had happened, all he had to do was deny it. No matter what happened, it would always be someone else's fault. That was how Grandpa Xing always did things. Mama Xing naturally told Xing Xiao about Xing Minghui being found. Although, Mama Xing did not expect that Grandpa Xing would use this matter to get rid of Mu Qiqi. But Xing Xiao was different. Judging from Grandpa Xing's recent actions, he knew that Xing Minghui being found would be the best excuse for Grandpa Xing to lay his cards on the table with the Xin family. After all, Xing Minghui was seriously injured. "Mother, there's going to be a lot of drama at home." "What do you mean?" "Grandfather has taken a liking to the young lady of the Gu family to replace Qi. Now that seventh brother has been exposed, do you think he will miss such a good opportunity and not take advantage of it?" Mama Xing was shocked after listening to Xing Zhao's analysis. "No wonder. After visiting seventh sister today, your third uncle and third aunt talked excitedly with old master for the whole afternoon. Do you have a plan?" "Let the old man do what he wants." Xing Xiao said, "If he wants to look for old Shen, let him. If he wants to make things clear, let him. Anyway, he doesn't care about what I think. Why should I guard against him?" "But you're just going to let the old man dissolve your relationship with Xiao Qi? Whether you admit it or not, in my heart, Qi is already my wife," Xing Xiao said seriously. "It's just that the price he has to pay for doing this is a little too high. You want to, if he doesn't do anything to Qi, I won't give up on Huang Yao. But he must have crossed the line. So, I can only..." "I'm sorry." Xing Xiao had already made up his mind. "Mother, what's your decision? Your father and I have been together for so many years. Although he is not a man most of the time and can't protect this family, I don't want to give up on him just like that. If you really announce that you are leaving Huang Yao, I will go abroad to look for him," Mama Xing said. Xing Xiao held the phone and said softly, "I'm sorry, Mother, don't say that. I know your temper. Even if Qiqi is not here, you will fight back when you are forced to this extent. Moreover, you have prepared a way out for me. It's just that I have other options. No matter what, just do the ideological work for the Xin family. You can let go of the Xing family." "Thank you, Mother. Xiao Qi is still in the dark. You have to make it clear to her. Don't let her misunderstand." Xing Xiao was very clear about that. Now that the matter was pressing, he naturally had to be prepared in advance. After the call, Xing Xiao hung up and told Mu Qiqi, who was writing the autopsy report at home, "Pack up. We're going to the Xin family." "What time? What happened?" Mu Qiqi put down her laptop and stood up, looking at Xing Xiao, who was changing his clothes. "You will know when the time comes." It was late at night and it was winter. When Huang Yu saw that they had arrived at the Xin family's house, she put a blanket over them. "It's so late. It's freezing. Your father and grandfather are already waiting in the study. Go." "Thank you, second aunt." Mu Qiqi tightened her grip on the blanket and followed behind Xing Xiao. She seemed to have sensed something unusual in the atmosphere. Since they had called before, Xin Jianchuan and Grandpa Xin were waiting in the study. When they saw them, they asked, "What's the matter? Why is it so urgent that we have to meet tonight?" Mu Qiqi really wanted to know as well, but from the look in their eyes, it seemed that she had kept many things from them. Xing Minghui was found, but she didn't end up well. The Xing family blamed it on Qi, which is why Grandpa Xin wants to use it as a pretext. Xing Xiao explained to them. "That's your family's business. Why are you coming to me?" Grandpa Xin snorted. How could he be happy that Xing Xiao could not settle the Xing family after so long? "If there are no accidents, Grandpa Xin will send you a visiting card tomorrow. Then, he will use Xing Minghui's matter to call off my engagement with Qi. Well, Grandpa Shen was furious. Does he think the Shen family is so easy to bully? Grandpa, don't be angry. If Grandpa Shen wants to have a showdown with you tomorrow, you just have to fall out with him. If that's the case, your marriage with Xiao Qi is over. Grandpa Xing said, pointing at Muqiqi. Xing Xiao and Shen Jianchuan looked at each other and smiled. Meanwhile, Shen Jianchuan spoke up. Father, since when is your grandson-in-law someone who suffers losses? If the Xing family refuses to accept Muqiqi, you should be magnanimous and accept him as your grandson-in-law. Grandpa Shen was shocked when he heard that. He looked at Xing Xiao in disbelief. You are willing to marry into our family? I'm with Qi, anyway. Is there a difference if I marry her or she marries me? Xing Xiao smiled. That's not all. Shen Jianchuan continued. You know that I've established Zhongting Military Industries, right? But you probably don't know who my partner is. Chapter 363. Are you really planning to leave Huangyao? Could it be that you don't like me as your grandson-in-law, grandfather? Xing Xiao was smiling, looking supremely confident. I'm just afraid that the one in your family would come knocking on our door and make it impossible for me to live in peace. Although you've retired, the Shen family's reputation is still there. Moreover, second uncle's foundation is stabilizing, and the Xing family wouldn't do anything to embarrass the Shen family openly. Xing Xiao said very confidently. The old man was still fuming. No wonder you would bring Xiao Qi here in the middle of the night. If I didn't like you, brat, I wouldn't even bother with you. I'm doing this to show my attitude in advance, and I hope that you can cooperate with me and finish the show, grandfather. But you have to think this through. When your grandfather sees me tomorrow, he would officially call off your engagement. Xing Xiao turned to look at Muqiqi, his gaze doting and firm. She's never been a fiancée in my heart. Muqiqi did a double take, and heard him continue, she's my one and only wife. Brat, after they finished their discussion in the study, the two of them prepared to stay at the Shen residence for the night. After the two of them left Grandpa Shen's study room, Grandpa Shen said helplessly to Shen Jianchuan, after all, we have been friends for decades. I really don't understand why I, Xiao Qi, am not good enough for his eighth brother. Father, Xing Xiao is sincere toward Qi, which means he's not willing to let you control her. Secondly, you're retired, and Qi, is a girl. It's impossible to create a comfortable space and conditions for Xing Xiao to develop in Huangyao. Moreover, Muqiqi wants to be a forensic doctor so much. Do you think old Sheng would let Muqiqi occupy the position of Xing Zhao's woman? He could definitely find someone who could help Huangyao. He has a good plan. He can't blame me for abducting his grandson. That brat is capable and bold. You just have to fulfill their wish. Shen Jianchuan looked at his father and could only smile. Anyway, old Sheng could break off the engagement. It did not matter. When the time came, Xing Xiao could directly announce his withdrawal from Huangyao. Let's see who would lose more. Let's talk about it tomorrow. The old man had been on the battlefield all his life. What had he not seen? Now, his granddaughter's engagement was broken off. Even if eighth brother did not vent his anger, he would not be able to swallow it. The Shen family was easy to bully. Moreover, they had been friends for so many years, and yet old Sheng was still playing tricks on him. Thinking about it, all these years had really been a waste. Shen Jianchuan kept smiling. Anyway, he was just watching the show. In Muqiqi's room in the Shen family, Muqiqi was straddling Xing Xiao and tugging at his clothes. You are hiding a lot of things from me. Xing Xiao was not annoyed. He just lay on the bed. It was quite comfortable anyway. Didn't I tell you now? If things hadn't come to this, you wouldn't have told me. Muqiqi snorted. When did you start a new company with Dad? Just recently, Xing Xiao replied. Are you planning to leave the Xing family for good? Yes. Xing Xiao nodded and hooked his arm around Muqiqi's neck. Why? Am I not to your taste just because I am not the crown prince of Huangyao? You are going to marry into the Shen family. What else is there to say? Muchichi shook his arm off and got off him. You are not allowed to touch me tonight. Xing Xiao hugged Muchichi in his arms and whispered into her ear, there is no condom in the first place. I am angry. Be serious. Muchichi snorted. You are not telling me anything. I am so sad. Little one, you are asking for a mile after being given an inch. Who am I doing this for? That was true. From the moment she saw old Xing interfering with fourth sister's affairs, she knew that she would break off her engagement with Xing Xiao sooner or later. She had also thought about how she should solve the matter. She really did not think that Xing Xiao would leave the Xing family completely and start his own family, even intending to marry into the Xin family. There was no telling how big a wave this matter would cause. Little one, there might be news about us breaking off our engagement tomorrow, let it be. Muchichi replied nonchalantly. Then I would be the one who dumped you. You are asking for a beating. Xing Xiao held Muchichi down and slapped her butt. Muchichi did not resist. After all, this man was never willing to use his strength and only treated it as a massage. Tomorrow, it was fine if old Xing used Xing Minghui's matter against the Xin family and Muchichi and asked to break off the engagement. After all, he would use the excuse that old Xing had decided his life without his consent to get rid of the burden that was Huang Yao. Was he afraid? Never. In fact, he preferred the environment and the unity of the Xin family. Many people would not be able to sleep tonight, would they? Old Xing was worried if there would be any changes in this matter, and if eighth brother would know about it in advance. On the other hand, Mama Xing was worried that something terrible would happen after Xing Xiao made things clear. But the two involved did not seem to be affected at all and were sleeping soundly. The next morning, sixth brother went to old Xing's study. Grandpa, I thought about it all night last night. I think I should go to old Xing personally. That way, I can show my attitude and determination. Take old Master Shen to the hospital directly. Then, let him see your sister's most miserable side. Also, let your parents make a scene in front of him. Only then will you have a good reason to call off the engagement with the Xin family. I understand. Sixth brother said. Then, what about Xing Xiao? Don't mind him. When the news spreads, he will come home and settle the score with me. But what is done cannot be undone. He can't do anything about it. Old Xing did not want Xing Xiao to agree in the first place. He knew that Xing Xiao would never agree. What if Xing Xiao reacts violently? He would be in a hurry to explain to Muchichi. Old Xing waved his hand. When the two of them are together, it will not be justifiable and there will be more misunderstandings. Sooner or later, they will separate. Don't worry about it. All right, let's do it. Sixth brother simply threw caution to the wind. In for a penny, in for a pound. After all, he could not wait to cut Muchichi into pieces every time he saw seventh sister's face. Now, not letting her into the Xing family was already the lightest punishment he could get. But how could the Xing family know that Xing Xiao had already planned to retreat? You don't know gratitude after stabilizing Huang Yao, do you? Plotting against me? Chapter 364. Sixth brother promptly drove to the Xin's residence after receiving his orders. Meanwhile, Xing Xiao had already left the Xin's residence with Muchichi. Sixth brother would have a direct confrontation if he saw them. Although old Xin was prepared, he was still very upset when the Xing family really came. Was old Xing actually thinking of returning the granddaughter of the Xin family? It was good that he had brought Xing Xiao here. Old Xing would also see how Xing Xiao would use the Xin family's current resources to rise to the top. How dare he belittle the Xin family and look down on them? Their decades of friendship really could not withstand the test. Still, old Xin would not feel guilty for abducting the crown prince of the Xing family. After all, who was Xing Xiao? His legs were grown on his body, so who could stop him? Sixth brother was completely unaware that it was a trap. He entered the Xin family through Huang Yu and met old Shen at the fish pond without a hitch. Even before he spoke to old Shen, he thought to himself that the old man's power was truly gone. Now, he could only stay at home and play with his birds, and his days were so boring. It was precisely because of this thought that they missed a very important thing, which was the mayoral election. Old Shen turned and smirked when he saw sixth brother. Still, he put down his fishing rod and walked up to sixth brother. What's with the wind today? Even the sixth brother of the Xing family is here. Old Shen, I'm here to invite you to a place. Sixth brother's face showed proper respect. Did your grandfather ask you to invite me? Yes. Sixth brother nodded. Old Shen washed his hands by the sink and walked ahead of sixth brother. Wait for me at the front hall. I want to change. Soon, they left together. Still, when he saw that it was not the way to the Xing family's house, the old man couldn't help asking, where are we going? Don't worry, old Shen. You'll know when we get there. Sixth brother kept him in suspense. Soon, they arrived at the hospital. Although Grandpa Shen was still puzzled, he got an answer when he entered Xing Minghui's ward. Isn't this Xing Minghui? Exactly. Old Six nodded. Seventh sister is seriously ill now. She's not in her right mind. Please forgive her for not recognizing old Shen. This, and the person who did this to seventh sister is your good granddaughter, Mu Chi-Chi. Old Shen's face fell at that. He was about to say something when third uncle and third aunt of the Xing family pushed open the door and entered, grabbing old Shen's arm. Old Shen, my daughter wouldn't have ended up like this if it wasn't for Mu Chi-Chi. She's the one who harmed her. Old Shen, you must give us an explanation. Old Shen, I only have one daughter in my family. However, she was tricked by a man by Mu Chi-Chi. Now, she is seriously ill and delirious. She can only spend the rest of her life in the hospital. Old Shen, please help us. With snot and tears running down their faces, the couple fought to accuse Mu Chi-Chi to the old man. No, you should at least tell us what happened, shouldn't you? Back then, seventh sister and your granddaughter, Shen Ruoi, were bewitched and wanted to harm Minglan. It was Mu Chi-Chi's idea that made old Shen hate seventh sister and chase her out of the family. I know seventh sister is at fault, but what could a young lady like her go after she was chased out of the family? Our elder regretted it the very next day, but it was already too late. We couldn't find OL7 anywhere in the world until 2 days ago, when her brother found her in a nightclub. Third uncle of the Xing family covered his face and sobbed. If Mu Chi-Chi didn't come up with such an idea, things might not have turned out this way. Old Shen knew what happened this time. But it was old Sheng who gave the order. What did it have to do with Mu Chi-Chi? Moreover, seventh sister and Shen Ruoi only had themselves to blame. What was there to sympathize with? He did not even mention that Shen Ruoi was exiled to the cold army to suffer. Old Shen, both of them held on to old Shen and cried bitterly. Soon, old Sheng pushed open the door and entered. The two old men looked at each other, and old Sheng sighed helplessly. Old Shen, let's talk outside. Finally, they were getting down to business. These three were really bad at acting. It was not that he did not sympathize with seventh sister, but he would not simply admit that it had nothing to do with Mu Chi-Chi. The two old men were walking in the garden of the hospital. Grandpa Sheng was not as agile as Grandpa Shen, so he stopped and said to Grandpa Shen, seventh sister's matter has caused quite a stir in the Xing family. The family has a lot of opinions about Mu Chi-Chi, and third brother's family is even threatening to kill themselves. Grandpa Shen, I'm really troubled. Grandpa Shen looked at his old friend in front of him and suddenly felt that he was a stranger. Since when did old Sheng start beating around the bush so much? Old Sheng, just say it if you have something to say. Perhaps our eighth brother and Mu Chi-Chi are not fated. As a grandfather, I can't absolve myself from the blame when our family is in such a mess. That is why I've come to you shamelessly today. What I want to say is that we should forget about the marriage between our families. Mu Chi-Chi is smart and obedient. She would definitely find a better home. But there's no telling when seventh sister would leave. She's so sick that she can't face Muchichi even if I look after her. Grandpa Shen fell silent after hearing this. After a while, he asked, feeling rather humiliated, who is more responsible for the matter between seventh sister and Shenrui? You're the one who chased your granddaughter out of the family. Now that something has happened, you're blaming my granddaughter? It's my fault. I shouldn't have listened to Muchichi. Was that an apology? Old Master Shen had finally seen it for himself. I know that you've never acknowledged Muchichi from the start. You only agreed to the engagement because she's still young, and you could turn the tables on her at any time. Old Shen, what are you talking about? Old Shen began to quibble. Our families have been friends for decades. Why do you think that the Shen family no longer has power, Old Shen? Second brother has been elected mayor of Jianchuan just a few days ago. You don't know about that, do you? Old Shen appeared rather shocked, because the matter had not been made public yet. Still, since you've said it and made it clear, the Shen family wouldn't ask for trouble. Our granddaughter hasn't reached the point where she would throw herself at someone else. Since you've already decided that it's Muchichi's fault, let it be. It's our granddaughter who has wronged you. I'll call off the marriage for Muchichi. Chapter 365. Businessmen are so short-sighted. There's a saying since ancient times that the common people should not fight against the rich, and the rich should not fight against the officials. So, when it comes to the Shen family, are you saying that the Shen family is paying for it? I won't do such a thing. Since you've spoken, Old Shen, the marriage between Shen Xiao and Muchichi is over. The Shen family will tell the world that we're breaking off our engagement with the Shen family, and I'll send someone to Seventh Sister's house to express our sincerity. Old Shen, since you have the intention of shedding all pretense of cordiality with me today, then I shall accept this favor. Old Master Shen raised his eyebrows. He did not hold back when he spoke to Old Master Shen. Let's forget about our past relationships today. Old Shen panicked inwardly when he saw Old Shen's decisiveness. After all, he really didn't know that Muchichi's second uncle was now the mayor of Jianchuan, and that his attention was on the Gu family. Unexpectedly, the Shen family was still the same as before. Moreover, with Shen Lin joining the army and Shen Jianchuan slowly recovering, the Shen family would still enjoy limitless glory in time. Old Shen, you're being too serious. We still hope that Muchichi could visit the Shen family, no need. You Shen family might be shameless, but we are. With that, Old Shen flicked his sleeves and left. That left Old Shen rather annoyed. It was clearly his idea to build connections with the Gu family, and he had always been disdainful of Muchichi's birth. But how could he have known that Muchichi's background would one day rise with the tide? But there was no turning back now that the arrow had been fired. Since this matter had become a foregone conclusion, the friendship with the Shen family could only end here. The only good thing was that he could openly let Miss Gu join the Shen family. But little did he know that his loss had just begun. Still, the truth was that Old Shen didn't feel the joy of being rid of a burden. Instead, there was an emptiness in the depths of his heart. After all, he was now an enemy of the Shen family. Even so, he couldn't come up with any countermeasure if the Shen family tried to suppress the Shen family in secret. Otherwise, did he really think that no one could shake Jianchuan for so many years just because he was a big conglomerate? How could those who wanted to make an example out of the Shen family not be wary of the Shen family behind the Shen family? After a while, Old Shen returned to the ward. Sixth brother quickly went up to him and asked, "Grandpa, is it done?" "It's a success, but don't worry about buts. Muchichi will never appear in the Shen family again." "Isn't that a good thing? When are you going to announce the news?" "The Shen family will handle this. You don't have to worry." Old Shen told sixth brother. Although Shen Xiao had told Old Shen about it, Old Shen was still furious when he heard how Old Shen despised Xiao Qi. If it weren't for that brat's foresight and ability to judge the situation, he really wouldn't want to get married to the Shen family. How young was Xiao Qi? Xing Xiao was almost 30, and now that he thought about it, he was at a disadvantage. Of course, Xing Xiao knew very well how strong Grandpa Shen's character was. He would not be in a good mood after this incident. That was why he planned to stay with Mu Chichi at the Shen family's house for the next 2 days. Moreover, he would return home at once and accompany old Shen to fish at the fish pond after he was done with his business in Huangyao. Humph. I'm making a call to have someone handle your marriage with Xiao Qi. I'll handle it myself, Xing Xiao quickly said. You don't have to worry about it, Grandpa. The Xing family will get it back soon anyway. Who's your grandpa? Now that second uncle has become the mayor, those who underestimated the Shen family would once again see the Shen family's ability. Only fools would offend you now, wouldn't they? Cunning. Grandpa Shen commented. I am happy for you, Grandpa. Although the Shen family's power is rising again, but the number of people is still too small. Second uncle and second aunt are old, so they still need to rely on us, the younger generation, to spread the branches and leaves, right? Let go out and look for someone else. How could I treat her better than a ready-made grandson-in-law like me? You think too highly of yourself. Why aren't you handling the matter between you and Old Shen was too lazy to be bothered. Of course, he had seen many things clearly now that the Shen family was rising again. That was why keeping a low profile before was the right thing to do. Xing Xiao smiled and called a reporter he was familiar with. I've got some news for you. Do you want it? What's the big news? The Crown Prince of Huangyao has broken off his engagement with Mu Chichi, the granddaughter of the Shen family. It's because the elders of the Xing family don't like Mu Chichi's status. Is the news reliable? If you don't report it, the Xing family would beat you to it. Xing Xiao said playfully. The reporter promptly asked to hang up at that. I'm going to write my draft. After all, the feud between rich families was always good material for gossip. Of course, with Xing Xiao letting the news out like that, it was all the Xing family's fault. Looking down on Mu Chichi's background? In any case, she was the legitimate daughter of the Shen family, the mayor's niece. How could the Xing family look down on that? Were they going to marry the empress? Therefore, before the Xing family could inform the rest of Huangyao, the news had already spread. Lu Qianqian, Su Zipei, and Jing Yun all called Mu Chichi. Mu Chichi was still busy with the autopsy, and could only reply them one by one. The news is real, but my relationship with Xiao Xiao isn't affected. There's more exciting things to come, so you don't have to worry. The Xing family is abandoning the little bride just like that? To tell the truth, Mu Chichi is only 19, while the crown prince is 27. Isn't it obvious who's the winner? The crown prince likes Mu Chichi so much, but the elders still control his marriage. The Xing family really doesn't know what's good for them. Let me tell you a secret, the Shen family has just won the election and is flourishing, but the Xing family is actually looking down on them. Whatever the case, the two have broken off their engagement in name. There are plenty of young geniuses and young ladies. They have a chance now. What a pity, I really want to see how the people react. How the people react? What kind of reaction? The news that they revealed themselves. The Xing family would be cursed by the world this time. Of course, none of that worried old Sheng. He was more worried that Xing Xiao would go berserk. Just worried? No way. Now that Xing Xiao had calmed the Shen family down, wasn't it obvious what he was going to do next? Did the old man think that he would go to the Xing family and cause a scene? He was too lazy to do that. Tonight, I'll let the old master worry for a night. Tomorrow. Chapter 366. In the evening, Mu Chichi returned to the Shen's residence. She could not help rolling her eyes when she saw Xing Xiao. My phone is exploding from all the calls. You did it. Xing Xiao pulled her into his arms and whispered into her ear, isn't it good to stand up for the Xing family? How would I know there would be such a huge reaction? You don't know how many sympathetic gazes I get wherever I go. Xing Xiao could not help chuckling at that. My is fine. Why would she need sympathy? Humph. Others don't know. All right. You stink. Go take a shower and have dinner. I've brought the perfume for you. Mu Chichi nodded and went to the bathroom to wash up. Still, the stench of corpses on her spread from the main entrance to every corner of the Shen's residence. Even old Shen could not help asking what that smell was. Xing Xiao only explained then. She's just observing corpses. Old Shen nodded and looked at Xing Xiao. That's too smelly, it's like this every day. I'm used to it. Really? Why must she be a forensic doctor? The old man did not dislike the profession, but the fact that it was a job that women could not bear. She's an assistant in the criminal investigation team now. She's not just observing. Xing Xiao smiled in agreement. That was something the old man was quite satisfied with. The kid had really accepted everything about Xiao Qi, be it good or bad. Even if it was the stench of corpses, he would enjoy it every day. When do you plan to announce your departure from Huangyao? Tomorrow. He did not do it tonight to keep the Xing family uneasy. And old Sheng would definitely know that he was at the Shen's residence tonight, thinking that he was trying to make Mu Chichi happy. Let's eat. The old man did not say anything else. He did not need to show up anyway. Meanwhile, in the dining room of the Sheng's residence, the Xing family was puzzled that Xing Xiao did not come back to trouble the old man. Although old Xing guessed that Xing Xiao would definitely try to coax Mu Chichi and explain, it was not his style to not show up until now. Let's not wait. Let's eat. Everyone started to move their bowls and chopsticks. At that moment, Mama Xing said to Grandpa Xing, Dad, I've booked a plane ticket to leave Jianchuan tomorrow. Are you going to find boss? It's all thanks to you that I feel that staying in the Xing family is like hell. You made 8th brother and Mu Chichi break off their engagement and worked with 6th brother's family to put on a show and force old Shen to agree. You didn't tell me about it at all. I think you don't need me as your daughter-in-law. So, I want to leave. Eldest aunt. 6th brother called out apprehensively. Until now, I only have one thing to say. Xing Minghui deserved what she got. And the one who caused all this was not Mu Chichi, but the old man in front of you. After that, Mama Xing got up from the dining table. Take your time. I won't be accompanying you. Old Xing did not stop Mama Xing, because he believed that Mama Xing could not make a decision on Xing Zhao's matter. Moreover, Miss Gu would be joining the Xing family soon. With that being the case, it was better to fulfill her wish so that she would not mess things up. Grandpa. 8th brother isn't back at this hour. Could he have done something unthinkable? It turned out that 6th brother was still afraid. Can he ascend to the heavens or dive into the earth? He would know to look for me when he comes back. Just do whatever you need to do. Old Xing wiped his hands with a napkin and quietly ate his dinner. Soon, Mama Xing left the Xing family's house with her luggage. She had no attachment to the Xing family at all. She would rather sleep in a hotel tonight than stay with those ingrates. 2nd brother could not stand it anymore, and only went up to her to carry her luggage. I'll see you off, eldest aunt. Since 2nd brother was Xing Zhao's chosen successor, she did not reject him. Huang Yao depends on you from now on. 2nd brother smiled, not understanding Mama Xing's words. There's still 8th brother. Still, he had given his heart and soul for the Xing family, but was treated like this. He must be feeling terrible. Terrible? Mama Xing snorted. There was no telling who would be the one feeling terrible tomorrow. Mama Xing gave Xing Xiao a call when they reached the hotel, and Xing Xiao brought Mu Chichi to the hotel and personally sent her to the airport the next morning. Be careful when I'm not by your side from now on. Mom, you have to visit us often. Mu Chichi said, hugging Mama Xing. Take care of Mu Chichi, 8th brother. Don't let her suffer. The Xing family is so heartless. Xing Xiao smiled and pointed at the security checkpoint. It's almost time. Go. It's not like we won't meet again. Remember not to bully Mu Qiqi. I'll remember. Mu Qiqi was really touched. Although she had never experienced motherly love from Su Ziqing, Mama Xing treated her like her own daughter, and would spare no effort for her and Xing Xiao. Soon, Mama Xing's figure disappeared through the security checkpoint. That was when Mu Qiqi sighed. I have one less family. Xing Xiao put his arm around Mu Qiqi's shoulder and led her out of the airport. It's Mom's choice. I know. I just feel bad. All right, I'll send you to the forensics lab. I still have things to do. Xing Xiao quickly changed the subject with his little one, or she would keep thinking about him. Are you going to fight the Xing family? Fight? Not really. I'm just spreading some news. With that, Xing Xiao started his sports car and sent Mu Qiqi to the forensics lab. Meanwhile, the Xing family was even more anxious. Logically speaking, they would only feel normal after Xing Xiao caused a ruckus. Otherwise, it would be the calm before the storm as long as Xing Xiao did not show up. Hoping for Xing Xiao to show up. What a shame. Xing Xiao would never show up. Soon, old Xing received a call from the director of Huang Yao. What's going on? Xing Xiao hasn't come to work yet. Meanwhile, Xing Xiao's resignation letter was handed to second brother, who was stunned when he read it. Meanwhile, the secretary was asking second brother about the meeting that Xing Xiao was supposed to be hosting. Should we keep waiting for the crown prince? Second brother had a complicated look on his face, and only said one thing. No need. He won't show up again. At the same time, a reporter from a financial magazine received the news. Xing Xiao, the crown prince of Huang Yao, has publicly announced that he is resigning as the CEO of Huang Yao and leaving the company forever. From now on, he would never meddle in Huang Yao's affairs. This is the second time the crown prince has resigned from Huang Yao this year. Chapter 367. Even so, the old man was dismissive when he heard the news. Eighth brother was playing that trick again. He had threatened him with ignoring Huang Yao the last time. Was he going to play the same trick again? Unfortunately, the old man would not fall for it. That was why old Sheng was not concerned at all when news of Xing Zhao's departure from Huang Yao spread like wildfire. That was until second brother returned home with Xing Zhao's resignation letter and share transfer letter. As the deputy CEO of Huang Yao, do you need me to teach you how to hold your ground in the company when eighth brother is being willful? Sixth brother even sneered. Second brother, you haven't seen eighth brother's tricks, but I've seen it once. He's doing this just to make grandpa compromise. In a few days, he'll come back when he's achieved his goal. Second brother, however, was not as optimistic as they were. He directly handed over Xing Zhao's resignation letter and the transfer of his shares. The old man took a look at it and immediately took 2 steps back. This was all handed over by eighth brother? Eighth brother wouldn't show his face at all, and only had his assistant deliver these things. Grandfather, no matter how willful he was in the past, it's clear that he's not joking this time. The old man's expression changed completely. Sixth brother snatched it for a look and was shocked. Eighth brother is serious? Grandfather, did you not think that eighth brother would really be angry after you caused such a ruckus and broke off the engagement with the Shin family on your own? Who in the family doesn't know how scary his anger is? Have you ever thought that eighth brother would really abandon Huang Yao? The old man really did not think that way, because Huang Yao had given Xing Xiao unparalleled glory and status. That was why he did not believe that Xing Xiao would give up on the family's power and wealth. No, he did not believe that eighth brother would give it all up even now. Where is eighth brother now? Old Xing asked. We broke off our engagement with the Shin family yesterday, and eighth brother had someone deliver these things today. With Xiao Qin's departure yesterday, it's easy to imagine that the bastard had planned for this day to come. Eighth brother is probably at the Shen family's residence now. Second brother answered. I'll go look for him now. Right now, the Shen family is not a place that just anyone can enter. Second brother reminded old Sheng. Grandfather, you should know that second uncle of the Shen family has been elected mayor of Jianchuan, right? The old man took a deep breath and tried to suppress the anger in his heart. Then find eighth brother for me, since he doesn't even want to go to Huangyao now, he naturally doesn't want to see you. The more important thing now is to stabilize Huangyao. Grandfather, I'm afraid you'll have to do it yourself this time. Didn't eighth brother just get rid of Muqiqi? Is there a need for such a big reaction? Second brother glared at sixth brother at that. You really should be grateful to eighth brother for having such a good life now. When he's gone, you'll know how your life would change dramatically. That's right, sixth brother. You should be grateful to eighth brother. Sixth brother was unconcerned. After all, would Huangyao crumble just because Xing Xiao was gone after so many years of standing? Naturally, second brother could not be bothered to waste words with him, and promptly followed the old man, heading to Huangyao to appease the shareholders. At first, old Sheng had wanted to hide the fact that Xing Xiao had handed in his resignation letter and transferred his shares. However, Xing Xiao had already revealed the details to the reporters, which was why the old man could not hide the fact that Xing Xiao was leaving Huangyao at all. Huangyao was in a state of turmoil all at once, just as rumors spread everywhere. At the end of the day, it was all because the old man had taken the liberty to call off the engagement with the Shen family, which was why Xing Xiao had such a drastic reaction. No, it might have seemed urgent and fierce to outsiders, but he had been planning it for some time. Otherwise, he would not have been able to provide whatever the old man needed. It looks like the crown prince is really going to leave the Xing family. He can't even protect his own woman. Perhaps Xing Xiao thinks that being the crown prince is useless, and simply doesn't want it anymore. I don't have to say it, but is the head of the Xing family blind? It's already very unwise to call off the engagement with the Shen family at this juncture. Why would he underestimate the crown prince's influence on Huangyao? The outside world was very clear about the matter. Xing Zhao's actions were clearly provoking the old man. Huangyao's board of directors called for an emergency meeting, but old Xing could only keep the shareholders at bay for now, even promising to bring Xing Xiao back. After that, he wanted to meet Xing Xiao, but found that the security was much tighter when he arrived at the Shen family's residence. Remembering how he had humiliated old Xing yesterday, old Xing did not want to show up now. Even so, he had to meet Xing Xiao. In the past, old Xing did not have to go through strict checks when he entered the Shen family, but he was stopped by the guards now. When the guards saw that it was him in the car, he promptly told the old man, "I'm sorry, old Mr. Sheng. Mayor Shen has decreed that he will not meet any Xing family member who comes to the Shen's residence. I hope you can understand our hardships and turn back." "Me too. You're first in line. It's fine if you don't want to meet me. Hand over my grandson." "I'm sorry, old Mr. Sheng." Young master is free to come and go in the Shen's residence, and no one is giving him a hard time. His legs are his, and there's nothing we can do if he doesn't want to come out. Old Xing angrily closed the car window, and was forced to return home. He really did not expect Xing Xiao to be so decisive. Find out where Muqiqi is right now. I want to meet her, and Xing Xiao wouldn't lock her up, would he? Muqiqi was at the forensics lab, but Su Che was with her at the moment. Old Xing arrived at the entrance of the forensics lab, and when Muqiqi finally came out, he ordered his men to capture her. But Su Che knocked out one of his front teeth with a single punch. Su Che blocked Muqiqi's way, and before Muqiqi could see who was in the car, he had Muqiqi get in and drive off right in front of old Sheng. That was how useful Su Che was. Trained in the special forces, it was not a problem for him to fight 5 people alone. Hence, the old man had no choice but to return to the Xing family's residence. That was when everyone in the Xing family came to ask if the old man had seen Xing Xiao. Second brother watched the old man's expression closely, and quickly knew the answer. Perhaps. Chapter 368. Second brother, you should take over Huang Yao since eighth brother has made you deputy chief. Grandpa, let me try. Who knows, eighth brother might want to see me. Second brother suggested. I might not be able to bring eighth brother back, but I would know what he wants and if there's still room for redemption. It's the same even if you go. It's the Su family's banquet tomorrow, and eighth brother would definitely be there. We'll talk about it then. The old man said tiredly. Second brother was very worried. He followed behind the old man. Grandpa, I'm only doing this to find a better wife for him. What's wrong with that? Second brother couldn't comment on the old man's actions, but he fully understood why Xing Xiao would retaliate like that. Huang Yao was in a mess right now, and the gossip magazines were not letting the Xing family off the hook either, and kept digging for the latest news. Old Shen finally vented his frustrations at the sight of the Xing family. Despising the granddaughter of the Shen family? During dinner, Old Shen sneaked a few glances at Xing Xiao before saying, Your grandfather came to look for you. I expected that, and I know you didn't let him in, Grandpa. How so? Aren't the guards in the Shen family a lot stricter? Xing Xiao answered Grandpa Shen naturally. Have you vented your anger? Grandpa Shen asked. Humph, Old Shen snorted. And I are returning to Jingting tonight. We'll be there for Jing Yun's banquet tomorrow, and the old man would know and look for me at the Su family's banquet. Don't forget your promise. What else can I do now that I've handed everything I own to you? Xing Xiao smiled. I'm not going back since I've decided to leave Huang Yao. Still, now's not the time to announce our new company. When the time is right, I'll let the Xing family know that I can't go back. Aren't you afraid that your grandfather would be heartbroken? He has a better choice. Xing Xiao said simply. Of course, he knew very well that old Sheng would not let him go so easily, but this time, he would never step through the gates of the Xing family no matter what. Now that Grandpa Shen had vented his anger, he felt much better. Do as you youngsters please. With that, Xing Xiao left the Shen's residence with Mu Qiqi. Old Sheng would never have expected that Xing Xiao would return to Jingting. Mama Sheng had arranged this house for him and paid for it in full. That was why Xing Xiao could continue living here. Today, I was almost kidnapped by your grandfather at the entrance of the criminal investigation unit. Xing Xiao carried Mu Qiqi and led her upstairs to the bedroom. That's why I let Su Che follow you. Where did Su Che come from? From what I can see, his opponent's teeth are all gone. A veteran of the special forces. Xing Xiao looked at her little face and answered. Mu Qiqi nodded. No wonder. This man had really arranged everything. Xing Xiao brought Mu Qiqi back to the bedroom and placed her in the bathtub. He filled the bathtub with hot water for her before they lay down together. Mu Qiqi saw him closing his eyes lazily, so she took the initiative to kiss him. How do you plan to deal with the reunion party tomorrow? Your grandfather will definitely go. I'll deal with it as it comes. Xing Xiao replied with a half-smile. Instead of worrying about what will happen to me tomorrow, you should worry about what will happen to you right now. Xing Xiao pinched Mu Qiqi's chin, and a ferocious kiss followed. Mu Qiqi did not even have time to react before she was pinned beneath him. I haven't tried it in the water yet. Do you want it? Mu Qiqi gasped. She had no control at all. Even now, he was asking her if she wanted it. The man was deliberately messing with her. Would you stop if I say I don't want it? Xing Xiao smiled seductively in that very instant and whispered into Mu Qiqi's ear, I'll answer you. I'll just rub and not go in. Xing Xiao was having a good time here, but the Xing family was in a mess right now. Soon, the shareholders would not be able to hold their ground, much less the partners of Huang Yao. Second brother's ability was certainly incomparable to sixth brother's, but his foundation was not yet stable, and he could not win the trust of the shareholders and partners. How could I have such an animal? Huang Yao is such a huge business, and he just threw it away like that. What else does he want? The CEO of Huang Yao has more shares than anyone else, and yet he's not satisfied? Grandfather, you know very well what he wants. Second brother told the old man. That's impossible. It was not easy for him to get rid of Muchichi, and he would not slap himself in the face and get Muchichi back. Second brother, you have to work hard for a while to stabilize Huang Yao. You don't have to worry about what eighth brother did before, and just go for it. I'll do my best, grandfather. Even so, there was only one Xing Shao in this world, and only those who had seen him with their own eyes would know how miraculous he was. Even if second brother was outstanding, he was merely a manager who was slightly better than the average person among the masses compared to a genius like Xing Shao. Eighth brother, are you so sure that I would admit defeat? After all, the old man believed that Xing Shao was only trying to fight back from the jaws of death. He had played the same trick last time, and naturally could not scare the old man, which was why he was increasing his stakes this time. This time, we'll see who can keep their composure. The old man was waiting for Xing Shao to understand that he would not compromise this time. Even so, he did not know that all he got was Xing Shao announcing the establishment of a new company. Of course, he would bring second brother to the Su family's banquet tomorrow. At the very least, he would have a good talk with that animal before the confrontation. Over the years, Xing Shao had been demanding nothing from the Xing family. Regardless of how the Xing family viewed him, he had managed Huang Yao well. Even so, the old man could not tolerate Muchichi. The entire Xing family was under the protection of his ability, but none of them were grateful. How many people actually worked in Huang Yao with such a huge group and such a huge family business? That was the part where second brother understood Xing Shao best. All they saw was Xing Shao basking in the glory of the crown prince and being respected and feared by all of Jianchuan. However, they did not know how much effort Xing Shao had put in behind the scenes, and how much responsibility he had shouldered for the Xing family. Second brother knew very well that whether the old man could meet Xing Shao tomorrow. Chapter 369. Still, there was no telling when the old man would wake up from his sweet dreams. On the next day, the Su family's reunion banquet was held in their manor. Meanwhile, Jing Yun had received the results of the DNA test between him and Su Yihong the previous afternoon. Since he did not have Papa Su's DNA sample and they were cousins, he had done a paternity test instead of a paternity test. Just as Xing Shao expected, Su Yihong was definitely not the Su couple's son, nor was he Jing Yun's biological brother. Jing Yun's heart was much more at ease now that he had obtained such evidence. Many mysteries had been solved because of it. Still, it would take some time for Su Yihong to personally admit that he had abandoned him at Jianchuan. Today, the Su family had a full house of guests. Many who knew the Su family well knew that their third son had gone missing many years ago, and since it was a reunion banquet, it meant that their son had been found. Still, there was no telling what kind of person the third son of the Su family was. The Su couple had come out to greet the guests early on, while Jing Yun waited for Xing Minglan to dress up before leaving the room. The guests were all curious when they saw Jing Yun. Wasn't that the crown prince's assistant? Normal people might not have noticed who Xing Zhao's former assistant was, but there were few among the nobles who did not know. This is my Feng, our long-lost child. Mama Su introduced him to the guests. The guests thought about it, and realized that Jing Yun was definitely an orphan. We've really worn out iron shoes in search of him. That child is doing well in the Xing family, but I didn't expect him to be the third son of the Su family. Isn't that so? He really looks like a talent. The guests all began to praise him, while Su Yihong was greeting the guests as well. Although he really did not want Jing Yun to appear before them and be acknowledged, his parents were not easy to fool. Moreover, Jing Yun was careful enough, which was why the trick Su Yihong came up with had not worked on him yet. I really didn't expect that the former assistant of the Xing family would be the third son of the Su family. There's no telling what the Xing family has fallen into this time. First, they lost Mu Chichi, the mayor's niece, and now they've lost Jing Yun, the third young master of the Su family. Oh my, they're really hurting. Even as the guest spoke, old Xing had already led second brother into the Su family's manor. Although Su Minglan's parents were reluctant, he was still Xing Minglan's grandfather and Jing Yun was indebted to him. Old Xing, you're here. Please, take a seat. Papa Su quickly greeted him. Congratulations on finding your son. It's all thanks to Elder Xing that we can see our son again. Knowing that Xing Xiao had left Huang Yao, Xing Minglan did not hate the old man that much. Hence, she greeted him, Grandpa. Minglan, let's go to the side and talk. Xing Minglan knew that the old man was probably going to ask her about Xing Xiao, but she really did not know anything about Xing Xiao leaving the Xing family. Even so, the grandfather and grandson still walked to a deserted corner. You know what happened to eighth brother, right? I learned about it from the news. Xing Minglan answered honestly. Huang Yao is a pile of loose sand right now. If you could you return to Huang Yao and help Grandpa? Old Xing asked Xing Minglan. You should know how much damage Huang Yao would suffer from eighth brother's departure. If you were a Xing, wouldn't you help Grandpa in times of need? Grandpa doesn't object to you and Jingyan now. Is that all right? I need to think about it. Think about it. Did Xing Minglan think that the old man was asking her to return because he needed her as his granddaughter? That was not it. The old man was asking her to return because he needed the Su family's backing. Now that Huang Yao was in a precarious situation, he would have an excuse to keep the shareholders in line with his in-laws. Of course, Xing Minglan did not think as deeply as he did. Even so, he could not hide his thoughts from Jing Yun and Xing Xiao. Jing Yun promptly told Xing Minglan, I won't stop you if you want to return. As long as you're happy, it's fine. But you should know that Grandpa's real purpose is to use the Su family's backing to stabilize Huang Yao. Xing Minglan felt a chill down her spine at those words. Why was it that she, as a grandfather, was always scheming against her family? Soon, Xing Xiao led Mu Chichi into the banquet hall. The crown prince of Huang Yao. All the guests' eyes were on the man and Mu Chichi. No, he was no longer the crown prince of Huang Yao. Even so, his regal demeanor was still wholeheartedly convincing. It was the first time the Su couple had seen him in all his glory, and they soon had to admit that he was a legend. Chief Su, Madam Su. Xing Xiao greeted them politely. Oh, young Master Sheng is truly extraordinary. It's Feng's fortune that you could groom him. Mama Su quickly praised him. That's right. You flatter me, Madam Su. Xing Zhao's eyes found old Xing beside them, but he ignored him. The guests were curious as well. What was going to happen between Xing Xiao and the old man? Young Master Sheng, please forgive us for our lack of hospitality since there are too many guests today. Please help yourself. Xing Xiao nodded and was about to greet Jing Yun with Mu Chichi, but old Xing walked up to Xing Xiao and said, Come with me. Old Xing walked ahead, assuming that Xing Xiao would follow him. However, Xing Xiao simply pretended not to hear him, and walked straight to Jing Yun. Have you gotten the test results? Yes, just as you expected. Jing Yun nodded. Then when do you intend to make this matter public? When I get another piece of evidence. Jing Yun answered Xing Xiao calmly. Meanwhile, second brother walked up to Xing Xiao and told him, Eighth brother, you should give grandfather some face in such an occasion. Eighth brother, in such an occasion, you should give grandfather some face. He is waiting to see you in the garden. Xing Xiao leveled second brother a sidelong glance, and nodded after a moment. If you want me to drive him crazy, I can meet him. You left the Xing family out of the blue and left such a huge mess. You should give grandfather an explanation, be it public or private. My fiancé is suddenly no longer my fiancé. Who can give me an explanation? Sheng Xiao asked second brother in return, lowering his head to look at Muchichi. Still, he did not give second brother a hard time, and instead clapped Muchichi on the back of her hand. Talk to fourth sister. I'll be right back. Will he be fine? Chapter 370. Muchichi walked towards Xing Minglan. The two sisters shared a look, but Xing Minglan was still worried. Why don't you go with him? I really don't know how eighth brother's temper would piss grandpa off. Fourth sister, you know how much the old man hates me. It would be weird if he didn't faint from anger if I really went with Xiao Xiao. Muchichi shrugged. Xing Minglan chuckled at that. That's true. Grandpa would probably skin you alive now that eighth brother is leaving the Xing family. Actually, you don't have to worry. The old man would never let anything happen to him before he achieves his goal. Do you blame him, Chi-Chi? It doesn't matter. He has his own position. Muchichi did not have the mood to remember someone who hated her every moment. Wasn't that just making things difficult for herself? Muchichi looked around at the guests, her gaze eventually landing on Suihong. I think all of you should focus on that man today. After all, Muchichi did not believe that Suihong would let go of any chance to deal with Jing Yun in such an occasion. Of course, the evidence in Jing Yun's hands would be exposed as soon as he moved. When that happens, wouldn't it be clear who was the one who lost more than he gained? Meanwhile, Sheng Xiao had gone to the Su family's garden, and found the old man leaning on his walking stick under the shade of a tree. His benevolent countenance would have drawn people to him, but who would have thought that an old man with such a face would have such a stubborn mind? Sheng Xiao slowly walked up behind the old man and asked, "What do you have to say?" "Say it." The old man turned in a hurry to glare at Sheng Xiao, his walking stick almost hitting Sheng Xiao. "You're abandoning Huang Yao for a woman? Just say what you want, eighth brother. Why do you have to cause such a ruckus every time before you're happy? Are you threatening me? Huang Yao is yours when I'm old. You're ruining your own career." After Sheng Xiao heard that, he approached the tree trunk and leaned against it. He smiled. "These things again. Can't you feel a little fresh? If you don't pretend to give up on Huang Yao, you don't have to listen to me now. Surely you don't think that I was joking with you when I left Huang Yao, do you?" Sheng Xiao's gaze suddenly turned sharp as he stared at old Xing seriously. "Don't tell me you're not forcing me to submit?" Grandpa Xing sneered. "You just want me to acknowledge Muchichi. You just want me to admit defeat before you feel happy." "Grandpa." It was rare for Xing Xiao to speak in such a serious tone. "I don't want to force you to be with I can easily achieve that if I leave the Xing family. Why would I go through so much trouble to torture myself? Stop acting. Can you give up on the Xing family's wealth and status? My wealth and status were never given by the Xing family. You have to understand why the world calls me the Crown Prince. It's not because of the Xing family, but because I've never lost to anyone," Xing Xiao said confidently. "That is why I could rely on my own abilities to create another Huang Yao even if I'm not with the Xing family. So, why should I listen to your control?" Old Xing was speechless. Which part of Huang Yao or the Xing family is worth my nostalgia for? If you think so highly of the young lady of the Gu family, why don't you marry her as a concubine? Wouldn't that be perfect? You know? Old Xing's eyes widened at Xing Xiao. "Do you think your every move has any privacy from me?" Xing Xiao said, straightening. "You can keep controlling the Xing family and meddle with your children, but that doesn't include me. I'll say it one last time. Please pretend that I'm dead from now on." With that, Xing Xiao moved to leave, but the old man held him back. "The Xing family has raised you. What right do you have to choose? Whether it's Huang Yao or the Xing family, it's all your responsibility. You can't escape it. Don't you want Muchichi? Fine. After you marry the young lady of the Gu family and make Muchichi your secret lover, I can turn a blind eye. Take back what you said just now. I still have some respect for you. Xing Zhao's voice turned cold. Don't forget that Huang Yao wouldn't be where it is today if it wasn't for me. I can agree to anything you want, aside from being with Mu Qiqi. Even 10 Huang Yaos wouldn't compare to one Mu Qiqi. With that, Xing Xiao left under the shade of the tree, leaving old Sheng to sulk under the tree. Second brother walked up to the old man and asked, "How is it, Grandpa?" "That bastard. He insisted that I accept Mu Qiqi." After all, he had always believed that the main problem between him and Xing Xiao was Mu Qiqi. "Then you, come, let's go back." The old man refused to admit defeat. Talk to Huang Yao's partners and cut all ties with eighth brother. I'd like to see who would be his friend without Huang Yao's protection. Even so, second brother knew very well that Xing Xiao wouldn't be Xing Xiao if he was afraid of such things. "Grandpa, don't let your anger ruin your health. I really owe him in my past life." Xing Xiao returned to the banquet hall, and Mu Qiqi turned to look at her man. Xing Minglan approached him worriedly. "Have you talked to Grandpa?" Xing Xiao lowered his head and took a glass of champagne from a waiter's tray, before smiling. "He still doesn't seem to accept the fact that I've left Huang Yao. Are you really not going back?" Xing Xiao did not answer Xing Minglan, and instead put his arm over Mu Qiqi's shoulder. "But what are you going to do after you leave the Xing family? You have to protect her, don't you?" Perhaps even the old man believed that he would achieve nothing without someone to rely on after leaving Huang Yao. That was why the old man insisted that he would never give up on everything Huang Yao had at his fingertips. He was just throwing a tantrum. But that was fine. He would let the old man think that way, because he would know that there was no going back when Zhongting went public. "Let's just pretend that I have nothing now." Looking around, every guest present was praising Xing Xiao and Jingyun for being young and promising, which naturally left Sui Hong with a deadly sense of danger. Chapter 371. Halfway through the reunion banquet, the eldest uncle of the Su family finally arrived. Though he and Papa Su had always been at odds like fire and water, he would still care about the Su family's reputation on the surface and maintain his brotherly bond with Papa Su. "That must be my nephew. What a talent." The eldest uncle of the Su family was on the tall side and a little plump, which was why he appeared more burly than Papa Su. His hands were naturally strong too, and it hurt when they landed on Jing Yun's body. "Big brother, you've come all the way here to congratulate me." "I thank you as your younger brother." Papa Su quickly greeted him. "What are you talking about? Everyone knows that for this child, sister-in-law has been crying all day long. Now that the child is back, as the big brother, I can rest assured." Jing Yun did not entertain them, and instead turned his eyes to Sui Hong and his eldest uncle. This father and son pair's wishful thinking was truly resounding. "Don't mind your eldest uncle. Just be polite." Mama Su whispered into Jing Yun's ear. "Mother, can you help me announce my marriage to Minglan?" Jing Yun did not care about his eldest uncle and father since he would deal with them sooner or later. Right now, all he wanted was to give Minglan a title. Mama Su smiled at that. "Got it." Hence, Mama Su went to the podium and announced Jing Yun and Minglan's marriage in front of everyone. Naturally, old Sheng was happy to see it. Even if Xing Xiao was not around at Huang Yao, he still had Jing Yun to comfort him a little. "Congratulations to you and Jing Yun, fourth sister," Mu Qiqi quickly said. Mu Qiqi quickly congratulated him. "You don't know how worried Xiao Xiao and I were when this blockhead didn't understand. I think you're the only one who's worried. Eighth brother never asks about such things." Xing Minglan raised a brow. "He only has you in his heart. Whatever the case, you're very happy to be with the person you love, fourth sister." Xing Minglan nodded, and turned to Jing Yun. Their gazes locked, leaving the others envious. Meanwhile, the employees of Su Holdings were not just shocked. Their backs were breaking out in cold sweat as well. Because the person they were told to mess with was actually the third young master of the Su family, no wonder he didn't look like a normal office worker from the way he talked and dressed. He was actually the young master of Su Holdings. The incident soon spread in the company's group chat, and those who had made fun of Jing Yun before were now on tenterhooks. If I had known that you were the young master of the Su clan, I wouldn't have dared to offend you even if I had to die. This third young master is way too low profile. If he had revealed his identity earlier, there wouldn't have been so many misunderstandings. Looks like this third young master is patrolling incognito. Who told you guys to bully the weak and suck up to the strong? Now you've run into a tough one. In fact, Jing Yun wouldn't bother with them since he had already taught them a good lesson. As long as it didn't happen again in the future, he couldn't be bothered. After lunch, the guests entered the dance floor to entertain themselves while Sui Hong chatted with his real father in the garden. Eldest uncle, I've been with the Su family for so many years, but in the end, they look more like a family. Eldest uncle Su snorted. You've been working hard for the Su family over the years, never slacking. And yet, that beggar came back and stole all your limelight. Well, I don't really care. Sui Hong muttered. Still, that younger brother of mine isn't easy to deal with. If we don't act soon, it'll be too late when he remembers. What do you plan to do? I'll bring third brother to the factory in 2 days. It'll be up to you when the time comes. The Su family had so many machines, and many of them were very dangerous. It wasn't like they couldn't deal with Jing Yun if they tampered with the machines. If anything happened, it would have nothing to do with them, and Jing Yun could only blame his bad luck. Don't worry, it's just a small matter. Eldest Uncle Su replied. If your wings weren't full, I would have snapped my brother's slender neck. There's no hurry, right now. Xing Xiao was standing on high ground, watching as Sui Hong and the eldest uncle of the Su family stood together. His lips curled into a smile. Tell Jing Yun to be careful over the next few days. Sui Hong has a plan. I must say that bloodline is such a wonderful thing. Those two really look alike. Mu Chi-Chi couldn't help being moved. If you think it's amazing, you should give birth to one and see how it works. I'm only 19. Mu Chi-Chi emphasized her age. 20 is enough. Mu Chi-Chi punched him in the chest, but Xing Xiao caught her little fist. Your grandfather is looking forward to us having a child soon. We're not even engaged, let alone married. Why would I give birth to your child? You've changed. You didn't treat me like this before. Mu Chi-Chi chuckled and stopped teasing him. When will the news of Zhongting's establishment be announced? When the time is right. Xing Xiao said mysteriously. Now that he had resigned from Huang Yao, everyone in Jianchuan would probably look at him in a different light. After all, he had nothing now, and he couldn't be content with watching the show so quickly. He had to let old Xing think that he had a few more days. In the distance, Jing Yun had noticed Sui Hong and the eldest uncle of the Su family sitting together from where he was beside his parents, and simply told Mama Su, eldest brother and eldest uncle are getting along. Your big brother can chat with any kind of person. It seemed that his mother trusted Sui Hong 100%, and Sui Hong's painstaking efforts over the years in the Su family were not in vain. What are you talking about? You're so happy. Sui Hong rose from his chair when he saw Jing Yun nearby and walked up to mother and son. I'm saying that you're making good connections. Mama Su replied. Mother, I want to bring third brother to our factory in 2 days. What do you think? Ultimately, the Su family was a corporation that developed and manufactured medical equipment, and Jing Yun must have control over the production line. That's fine. You'll be in charge of it. Thank you, brother. Jing Yun said very politely. We're all brothers, and the Su family would be yours sooner or later. That's why you don't have to be so courteous with me. What did Xing Xiao just say? Sui Hong couldn't hold back. After all, the longer Jing Yun stayed with the Su family, the deeper his bond with the Su couple. Chapter 372. Having followed Xing Xiao for years, Jing Yun could naturally tell from Sui Hong's words that he was scheming. What production line? It was nothing more than an excuse to cripple his body. Otherwise, Jing Yun could not imagine what Sui Hong could do to him in such a place. If that was the case, and Sui Hong was harboring evil intentions, he would definitely not hold back, and settle the score with Sui Hong once and for all. As for where Sui Hong would set the trap, he would have to improvise when the time comes. The reunion banquet was lively, and naturally went smoothly. Since old Sheng had become in-laws with the Su family, he naturally planned to return home after the banquet. There was no lack of guests who praised Xing Xiao in front of him, but he retorted with one line, "It's a pity that the kid is mischievous and insists on going out to make a name for himself. He doesn't even want to be the CEO of Huang Yao, and as his elder, wouldn't I be letting him down if I don't fulfill his wish?" In other words, old Sheng was implying that Xing Xiao had nothing to do with Huang Yao. He's still a kid. Who wouldn't make mistakes? That's true. Still, he has left the Xing family. You don't have to hold back if you see him in the future. Teach him a lesson for me. Did that mean that the Xing family was really not acknowledging the crown prince? I'll do as you say, old Sheng. Xing Xiao had always been able to do whatever he wanted in Jianchuan, and no one had ever dared to touch him. Now that he was really leaving Huang Yao, did that mean that the heir of Huang Yao would be changed? It seemed that old Sheng was sad about his grandson. Instead of a great empire, he insisted on a woman. The old man probably thought that his grandson was a good-for-nothing, which was why he did not intend to keep supporting him. And it would be terrible if news of that got out. As the saying goes, the river flows east for 30 years, then west for 30 years. Was the crown prince going to be a nobody, trampled by everyone? That night, it was not just the Su family's manor that was bustling. Something was happening at the Lu family as well. Lin Mu and was really acting as Lu Qianqian's bodyguard at the moment, staying by her side no matter what she did. It was a great humiliation for old Lin. The grandson of the Lin family actually went to work for a second-hand good. He really had no sense of shame. Thinking of this, the old man really couldn't take it anymore. He had to think of a way to teach this unfilial son a lesson and scare that broken shoe. Meanwhile, Lu Qianqian had just finished her class and was walking out of her tutor's private classroom with Lin Muben. But just as they were about to drive away, a black car crashed into them. Lin Muben protected Lu Qianqian. After confirming that the accident was not serious, he unbuckled his seatbelt and got out of the car. He wanted to reason with the other party. Unexpectedly, 4 burly men came down and grabbed Lin Muben. Then, they said fiercely, "Are you tired of living? How dare you block our path?" Lin Muben turned to Lu Qianqian and said, "Call the police." However, the other party did not give Lin Muben a chance to react at all. Their fists directly smashed over. It was not one person, but 4 people. Lu Qianqian was frightened by the scene in front of her. She quickly called the police, but was threatened by the other party. "If you dare to call the police, I will kill him." Lu Qianqian quickly comforted them. "What do you want? Do I need money? I'll give it to you. Don't hurt him. Do you think we lack that?" In the end, Lin Muben was a police academy student and knew self-defense. But there were 4 of them. If he moved, they would quickly and viciously press him to the ground. Their skills clearly showed that they were not gangsters from the outside. "Then what do you want?" "We know this young master is a young master of the Lin family. But he dumped my sister. So, we're using this as a pretext to beat him up. What can he do? Even the Lin family doesn't recognize him now. I've never been in love. How could I dump your sister?" Lin Muben wiped the blood from his nose and smiled. "I'm afraid it's that old man from the Lin family who asked you to come." The others were stunned. They did not expect Lin Muben to expose them. "I can't fight back even if you beat me up today. I can't beat you anyway." But it's the first time I've heard of a grandfather getting someone to beat his grandson up. It's really touching. Us beating you up has nothing to do with the Lin family. The trouble is so obvious. Why do you hide it? He's my grandfather. I won't fight back if he really beats me up. The others could not keep up the perfunctory act. They let go of Lin Mu An's collar. Cut the crap. I'll beat you up again the next time I see you. With that, they got up and left. It was only then that Lu Qianqian came forward, crying. She wanted to help Lin Mu An up, but he pushed her away. There's blood. It's dirty. What's dirty? I don't mind. Lu Qianqian helped him up and put him in the car. Are you okay? Do we need to go to the hospital? I'm not good enough as a bodyguard. I can't protect you at all when you're in danger. Lin Mu An's face was swollen. He clutched his chest and panted with difficulty. Are you sure it's your grandfather who got someone to do it? He just wants to teach me a lesson, Lin Mu An replied. He's a little agitated when he sees us together. I understand. How can there be such a grandfather? Lu Qianqian really could not understand. He just wants to scare you so that you don't have anything to do with me. Lin Mu An wiped away the blood on his face helplessly. You have to drive the car. Even if he wants to scare me, he shouldn't really hit you. Lu Qianqian really could not understand how a grandfather could be so cruel to his own grandson. He's at his wit's end. Lin Mu An's gaze darkened. He hoped that he did not further agitate his grandfather. This is just the beginning. He will definitely think of a way to make me beg him so that I will willingly return to the Lin family. As long as you want to find a place to hide, my house will always be open for you. Aren't you afraid of my grandfather's revenge? Lin Mu An narrowed his eyes and asked Lu Qianqian. The Lu family is not glass. It will shatter with one touch. Moreover, you are all alone now. If you lose me, you can go begging on the streets. With that, Lu Qianqian pressed a tissue on Lin Mu An's nose. Wipe it. I'll send you to the hospital for a checkup. There's really no need, listen to you or listen to me. Lu Qianqian crossed her arms and asked Lin Mu An dangerously. I think your grandfather must be a pervert in his past life. How could he do such a thing? Let him vent his anger. He's old. Lin Mu An was very open-minded. Chapter 373. But that doesn't stop me from being your bodyguard. Lu Qianqian pressed on his wound, and Lin Mu An inhaled sharply. You're about to fall apart, and you're still boasting shamelessly. Lu Qianqian glared at him and drove the damaged car to the hospital. After a checkup, the doctor insisted that Lin Mu An be hospitalized. Young man, don't fight just because you have a good recovery. His grandfather did it. Lu Qianqian told the doctor angrily. It's the first time you've seen a grandfather like that, isn't it? Beside them, Lin Mu An laughed, clutching his chest. Even if he was beaten up by old Lin, he had a happy little pepper with him. Watching her scold someone was the best medicine for him. You're still laughing? You've broken a bone. Lu Qianqian was fuming. Your grandfather could really do it. You must have been picked up from the streets. Lin Mu An really did not want to listen to Lu Qianqian's nagging. Hence, he hugged her in his arms and comforted her in front of the doctor. Whether my grandfather did it or not, little pepper, you have to believe me. I'll protect you even if I have to risk my life. Who needs your protection? Lu Qianqian pushed Lin Mu An away forcefully, only to touch his wound. Lin Mu An quickly shrunk into a ball, sweating. Lu Qianqian did not think of anything else. As a good friend, she certainly would not leave Lin Mu An alone. Even so, she did not know how serious Lin Mu An was with his vow today. At the Xing residence. Old Xing had the Xing family cut all ties with Huang Yao because he did not want Xing Shao to have him in his hands this time. Even so, he had to answer to the Gu family after Xing Xiao left Huangyao. They had agreed to settle things with Muqiqi. But this time, the old man did not only settle things with Muqiqi, but also Xing Xiao. Xing Xiao promptly announced that he was leaving Huangyao. On the next day, old Sheng invited the Gu family to his house, and Mama Gu stayed in the old man's study for 2 whole hours. Old Mr. Sheng, the Gu family is aware of what happened to your family. Why don't we just forget about the Crown Prince and Xiling? I think the Crown Prince really likes the young lady of the Shen family. Hearing this, Grandpa Gu waved his hand and said to the Gu family, Madam Gu, please don't worry. Everything will go according to plan. I know my grandson. He's just trying to threaten me now. When he knows that threats don't work, he'll listen to me. But, Mrs. Gu, what do you think of this? You saw my second grandson when you came in just now. He's not married yet. We'll stick to the original plan and let Miss Gu marry into the Xing family. She can choose whichever she likes. What do you think? Madame Gu recalled how second brother Sheng walked past her just now. He was indeed a handsome man. So, she nodded. If that's the case, I'll agree to it. After all, the Gu family was aware that the second young master of the Xing family held great power in Huangyao. They could accept either the crown prince or the second young master. Then we have a deal. After the Gu family left, sixth brother asked the old man, Grandpa, what's going on? It has nothing to do with you. Just mind your own business. Grandpa Xing told sixth brother. Everything was ready. There was just no telling when that unfilial son of his would stop being willful. Sixth brother hung his head and turned to leave, but the old man suddenly called out to him. Wait. Grandpa. Seal eighth brother's room as well. And spread the word that eighth brother is never coming back to the Xing family now that he's out. Are you serious, Grandpa? Sixth brother was puzzled. Since eighth brother's acting is so real, I certainly can't show weakness. The old man snorted coldly. He would act as if he no longer cared for Xing Xiao, so that he would know that his threats were useless. Even if the outside world knew that Xing Xiao and Huang Yao were at odds, so what? With the Su family moving to Jianchuan and the Shen family regaining their vigor, a military enterprise began its rise. That night, it was raining and snowing. Both Xing Xiao and Shen Jianchuan visited the office of Zhongting Industries, where they would handle official business in the future. Su Che was pushing Shen Jianchuan's wheelchair, while Xing Xiao put his arm around Muqiqi's shoulder. I like this place. Muqiqi told both Xing Xiao and Shen Jianchuan after walking one round. It's a great view, unlike Huang Yao with diamonds everywhere. It's so uncomfortable. Do you dislike Huang Yao, or do you dislike the people there? Xing Xiao asked, pinching Muqiqi's chin. Since you've cut ties with the Xing family, when are you going to announce your identity? Shen Jianchuan asked. At first, I wanted to teach the old man a lesson and let him know my resolve. But now, I think that it's better to keep my identity a secret, so that the outside world would think that I've fallen out with Huang Yao. Then, the old man would think that I'm nothing without Huang Yao. That way, I could have more peace in the early days of Zhongting, which is good for my work. Shen Jianchuan nodded at that. You're the lazing son-in-law of the Shen family. You just have to hide in the Shen family. That's what I think too. Xing Xiao replied. But can you take it if the outside world laughs at you for being a coward? Those people. I always have a way to trouble them behind their backs. Xing Xiao was nonchalant. Since that's what you plan to do, just do it. The Shen family could even help you with Huang Yao. Are you going to suffer for a while, CEO? Isn't that right? You're in for it with a husband who's been chased out of the family. Shen Jianchuan really did not want to see the two flirting, and so had Su Che push him to his office. He really wanted to sit there like a normal person, but he clearly could not do that now. As for Xing Xiao, he was now talking about working with Zhongting. His partners had all changed. As a military enterprise that produced military supplies for the army, the people he would be dealing with now were people with real power and influence, but they were never ostentatious. This was a completely new challenge for him. When he got home, Mu Qiqi found that Xing Xiao had stepped into a new field, and couldn't help climbing onto his lap to read his research materials. Now that you've established a new company with Dad, are you going to lean towards politics in the future? You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.